What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Elgato live stream, this time for Cyber Monday. We're very excited to be here. I'm Phil. I was here last Monday as well with Brito, but today we've got somewhat of a, Phil and Brett, we've got somewhat of a special guest.
I was recognized.
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Brett. I'm on the tech marketing team with Phil, and quite a long trip to be here and join you all for the Cyber Monday stream.
I convinced him to come down and chat with you guys about all these incredible deals that we have, because even though, and yeah, we should address it right now, even though some of our graphics might still say Black Friday, it is indeed Cyber Monday. And guess what? We still have some awesome deals going on, and they're going to be live until what I think it's 11:59 p.m. tonight. So that's Pacific.
Down to the second.
Literally down to the second. So yeah, we still have some deals. We're going to cover those. We're going to go over all of those today. We have our handy dandy sheets of paper, as well as a website, which our loving web team put together. And that has all of the information for you. But yeah, before we get into that, for those of you in the US who, I guess, is it celebrate Thanksgiving? I don't know what the term is. Or is it
Recognize,
celebrate, whatever you want to say. Did you do that? Did you have a great Thanksgiving break? For those of you in school, you probably had the whole week off. I had a couple days off. In fact, funny thing, I actually took Monday off and I still worked. I forgot I took the day off.
I did the opposite.
Well, okay.
Because guess where I'm from. I don't think I had power on Thanksgiving. So.
Oh yeah, right. But okay, shall we talk about some deals? Oh, we got Canadian. So you already had your Thanksgiving, right? Because I think Canadian Thanksgiving is a couple weeks before.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I already recognized some names from the Discord.
So yeah, welcome in, everyone. We're going to be live. Oh, I should also mention, we're going to be live pretty much all day again today. So we're going to be live for a couple hours here throughout the entire day. I'm going to be on. Brett's going to be on. We're going to have Chris come on. We're going to have Jasmine back at some point. Don't know exactly when, but she's going to be here as well. We're going to have Sean come in. So we're going to be having lots of folks here. Maybe you get to see your favorite if you do have a favorite. You don't have to say it, though. It's okay.
There's no favorites.
Yeah, there's no favorites. But with that being said, let's talk about deals. So it's Cyber Monday. We still have some deals. Again, they are on until 11:59 p.m. tonight, Pacific time. So if you've been thinking about, grabbing something, then you're going to want to do that today.
There's still a chance. You can still snag one.
And heard on the, through the web that all of our products are still in stock. As in, there's anything, if you want a Stream Deck Mark II, if you want a microphone, a mic arm LP, it's all still in stock. You can still get it right now. So yeah, let's talk about these deals. I'm going to head over to the other station here and show you guys around a little bit. So follow me. Okay, let me open up elgato.com. There we go. In chat, let me know if you guys can see this. Actually, I should probably pull up chat. Do that. There we go. Okay, so when you go on elgato.com, well, you'll see our live stream here, but scroll down, and right away on Elgato.com, you can find all of our deals live. This is pretty awesome. You'll see these tiles with all of the different products, and at the top, you can actually select your region right away. So if you're in the US, Canada, Mexico, Germany, wherever you might be, you just enter the country here, and then it'll show you all of the deals that are going to be available in your region. So we've got a couple really good ones still going on here. In fact, most of them are still going on. So all you have to do is hover over these tiles, and it'll show you when the offer ends and also what the deal price is. So for example, Stream Deck Mark II in white, you can save up to 20% off here. Normally it's 150. You can get it for 120. Now that offer ends again today. The deal ends in, I guess, what is it? 13 and a half hours, just about. Not only that, but you'll see there's a couple different retailers available. You can get on Amazon, Best Buy, or also at Elgato.com. If you do get it on Elgato.com, you actually get a free faceplate of your choice, which that is pretty incredible. RevMabs, can you showcase what Stream Deck can do? We will be getting into all of that. For now, we're just going to be covering the deals a little bit. You'll see right next to that we have Stream Deck Plus in white, which you can save up to 15%. It's normally $200. You can get it for $169.99. Nice. And then again, if you order it from Elgato.com, you do get to choose a free set of dials. So, you know, if you get the white one, all of the dials, they have this kind of like shiny, almost chrome-like color. They go really good, like the gold or silver or the red. It all looks incredible. Then we have Stream Deck Mark II in black, which that also, you know, ends today. Same thing, you can get it for 20% off. So normally it's 150 in the US. You can now get it for 120. And if you get it from Elgato.com, you get that free faceplate. Free? Fee? I think I said free. And then we also have Stream Deck Plus in black here as well. So same thing, you can get the free dial set. Folks, these are kind of incredible deals. I mean, honestly, like Stream Deck Mark II, those 15 keys for $120 is incredible, especially because product grows and evolves over time through software updates and all the plugins that are available. So it's not just a matter of you get it and then, you know, you only have those 15 keys and they only do one specific set of things. So yeah, Stream Deck, absolutely killer deals here. Let's see. Oh, and then we still have Stream Deck Mark II Atomic Purple. Now, Brett, question for you. Did you back in the day, or still have any, like the, I don't know, the N64 that had that like see-through purple, or like the Game Boy Advance? Okay, yeah, I'm same boat here. I didn't have any of this stuff, but for those of you who do we? Let me just open Amazon and check real quick. Stream Deck Atomic Purple is sold out. Okay, my bad. I didn't see that is out already. My mistake there. So we'll move on. Let's see. We have Stream Deck XL. This is quite incredible. 32 keys. All of them are LCD keys. You can save up to 25%. So normally it's $250 in the US. You can get it for $189. That is insane. I mean, 32 keys. I have a Stream Deck XL at my desk at home. I think I have half the keys filled because there's just that much you can do. I also have a Stream Deck Plus next to it, so you know I have access to a lot of keys. But yeah, that is just an incredible amount. It's especially awesome for if you're doing an actual production, kind of like we're doing here. You have just a ton of access to keys right at, you know, just top level. You tap on something, you know, something happens. You can of course still do folders, profiles, pages, and get access to even more. But then right next to that is, and this one might have flown a little bit under the radar, but check this out. Stream Deck Pedal, normally $90. You can now get it for $60 in the US, which is a savings of up to 35%. Stream Deck Pedal, it kind of comes in clutch. It's a little, like, if you, basically the most, it's like useful use case there is just tap to mute, or basically a push to mute, or push to talk rather, right? If you're using Discord and our Discord plugin, and you're playing, say, with controller or with mouse and keyboard, you don't even have to take your hand off of the keyboard and mouse, or your hands off the controller. You can simply tap on the, or press and hold the Stream Deck pedal to mute yourself or unmute. It is pretty darn awesome. You can also lean. So it's got essentially three pedals on there, even though it's one pedal. I don't know if there's a technical term for it. It's a 3-in-1 pedal, exactly. So you get one big one in the middle and then two on the sides, and essentially you can also lean. So if you're playing games like Tarkov, you know, you can get pretty dynamic with that if you want to. And those are just Stream Deck keys. So you can essentially assign 3 keys and use your foot. Some people even have 2 Stream Deck pedals and they plug them, you know, both in, and then you have, you know, you can use both your feet. Kind of cool. So yeah, that's what we've got going on for Stream Deck. So pretty much every Stream Deck, you know, all our most popular options are currently on sale. Again, the Atomic Purple is already out of stock, but you know, that was kind of a limited drop. So if you didn't get in on that early, I am sorry, but we still have all
Phil,
of the other Stream Decks in stock.
How's that prompter mounted? Not on.
What's up?
If I'm not sure what you guys are seeing right now, I'm just seeing
that prompter. If I'm not sure what you guys are seeing right now, I'm just seeing the chat here, but it's actually on a Wave mic arm. So we can actually skip down to that section as we kind of go through here. So let's talk about mic arms. We talked about Stream Deck mic arms. This prompter that I'm looking at is mounted on a regular mic arm, so a mic arm high rise, as in it's going up and over. I don't know if we can show you kind of the behind the scenes here. I think actually a PlayStation might be blocking it. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, that's on just a regular mic arm, which you can currently get for up to 30% off. That's pretty wild. It's normally $99. You can now get it for $69. Nice. Obligatory. You can get it for 30% off. And yeah, this is just our regular mic arm. Comes with a riser, so if you do want it coming over your monitor like it's showing here in the image, or you can just have it on the side of the desk, the flexibility is there literally and figuratively. Lady Vic says, how did you not get it to drop? The prompter? Oh, the prompter and in this case a Facecam Mark II, they're actually light enough for the mic arm to hold up, which is pretty cool.
Certainly for some people on the team, one of our favorite ways to mount prompter with Facecam is you put it on like the Wave Microm LP, for example. Which was the case when prompter first came out. Just slide it out of the way when you're done presenting or doing your little video call, and pull it back up right into view when you're ready for the next one. Now, someone was asking, can you mount it on Wave Microm Pro?
You can also mount prompter on a Wave Microm Pro. Do keep in mind though, when we say prompter, usually there's a camera that comes with, or that you need with prompter. You can't really mount, say, a DSLR together with prompter. That's going to be too heavy. But if you're using prompter with a webcam, like a Facecam Mark II, Facecam Pro, or really any other webcam for that matter, then that should be light enough to mount on a mic arm Pro, mic arm LP, or even just a regular mic arm. But let's check this out, right? So mic arm LP, I just mentioned that. It's normally also $100 bucks. You can get it for just $75 or $74.99. That's 25% off. I mean, that's pretty incredible. You're getting a incredibly high quality premium microphone arm. It's full metal construction. Like, it is super rugged. This thing, if the zombies attack, you can use this thing as a defense weapon. Trust me on that one. This thing is incredibly sturdy. And it's got integrated cable management, so there's cable routing or cable channels with magnetic covers, so it's really easy to route all the cables. And it just looks really, really sleek. And this comes in under your monitor, right? So unlike the regular mic arm that kind of goes over your monitor or from the side of your desk, the mic arm LP comes in under your monitor, and it gives a really clean, really professional look, especially if you want to keep the microphone out of your camera view. This is the mic arm that I use at home. And let's see here, just going to double check real quick. So we've got it at Elgato, we've got it on Amazon. Interestingly enough, it looks like on Amazon, the deal is not active anymore for the mic arm LP in white. It's only showing 5%, but you can get it on Elgato.com for that 25% off. So you can get it in black or white, to kind of match the aesthetic of your setup. And we'll show kind of how these microphone arms work in just a little bit. And then speaking of mic arm Pro, so mic arm Pro, this thing is really incredible. First of all, we just launched it
right before TwitchCon, I think.
A couple months ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago in October. Yeah, and it's kind of unheard of that we usually do deals this quickly. So it's really awesome that you guys are already able to save on this product. Mic arm Pro comes in at $180 usually, but you can now get it for 20% off for $149. A mic arm Pro is slightly different from mic arm LP, hence there's Pro in the name, in that it's got a couple differences. The first is the cable management is now on the bottom of the mic arm instead of at the top. It's kind of subtle. I think in your day-to-day you won't notice it, but it's just a small little thing. And then the biggest difference is the way that essentially the vertical elevation or the vertical arm movement works. So on the mic arm Pro, it's got and Brett, help me out here, a gas piston spring.
And essentially what this means is you can attach...
Or gas spring, yeah. And essentially what this means is you can attach your mic to it, and it kind of floats.
Oh, yeah, Phil, do you want to
you don't
show
need
it
to
up
tighten
on
anything.
camera?
You don't need to make any adjustments. You just connect your mic.
Phil, do you want to
Come over here.
My associate is pressing that.
Got it right here. And yeah, we're actually using them right now. So this is what it looks like. And then you can also see I've got it set up kind of in front of me here. And so, yeah, essentially what you can do is simply raise and lower it. You've got your horizontal adjustment, which, that's the same as the mic arm LP. You've also got vertical adjustment, which also the same as mic arm LP. The difference is with mic arm LP, you essentially choose a height of the microphone and leave it there. Whereas with the mic arm Pro, and in cases like this where, maybe you have a more dynamic setup or you're someone who likes to grab the mic and kind of, move it around as you're talking, this can freely move up and down thanks to that spring in there, that gas spring, and it just kind of stays there. You do have the ability to essentially increase the resistance, I guess.
Yeah, the term we call is increase or decrease the tension. So
Yeah.
you're changing how much force that spring is applying to the upper arm. So if you have a really heavy microphone, you know, at the limit, I can't remember quite what the maximum weight is right now. But like, you know, what's a really heavy microphone? SM7B?
SM7B, RE2020, those all, you know, including their pop filters, those will all work right away with the Mic Arm Pro. So this is incredible. I mean, it's an incredible deal for what was it? 20% off already, down from 180 to 150 bucks. Also, solid metal construction. It's also got the magnetic plates. So for cable management, I can simply, let's see.
Do we have a white one? Because I love swapping the.
I think we do actually, but it's kind of out of frame. But essentially, there's a magnetic plate underneath, and that's where the cable goes. And then just kind of, I'm gonna ASMR. This kind of snaps into place. Let's see, and then that. Hopefully, that wasn't too loud. But yeah, just kind of snaps into place, holds all your cables. You know, maybe just the mic cable or headphone cable if you're using a USB mic.
Or in the case of prompter with a camera, you can run your prompter cable and the camera cable all through there. So all you see is, you know, just the sort of the arm itself, not any cables moving around. So that is one of the cool things about the microphone arms. Wave Mic Arm Pro, Wave Mic Arm LP, and Wave Mic Arm High Rise, even though it's kind of an unlabeled term that we call it, is all the different things you can put on there. Prompter, microphones, cameras, lights in some cases. It being just a standard 1/4-20 thread on the end makes it compatible with just so many different accessories.
And yeah, it's compatible, both of them, well, all of our mic arms, in fact, are compatible with nearly any microphone out there. So if you're worried about, you know, the thread size, does it come with the right screws? The simple answer is yes. If you've got a microphone from pretty much, I think, any time, then it'll work with the Mic Arm LP, the Mic Arm Pro.
And even, you know, if you have a really high-end microphone that maybe only has those professional threads, which would be like 5/8 or 3/8 threads, like you can get adapters also through our, I think our spare parts page on Elgato.com.
Not only that, some mics come with them.
All of ours do.
All of ours do, exactly. Yeah.
So any microphone you get from us will have adapters for 5/8, 3/8, and quarter inch. So yeah, you can mount as long as it, you know, as long as it fits within the weight range of the microphone arm.
Which again, it covers quite a bit. I mean, I don't think you're going to find a mic it's going to have problems holding up. But yeah, so the mic arms are an incredible deal. Let's continue looking at the rest of the deals that we have going on. Let's see. We have Wave Desk Stand. Okay, that's another really cool one. So also just recently launched. Normally it's $60 or $59.99. You can now get it for 20% off at $49.99. This is really nice if you have a desk where maybe you can't clamp a microphone arm to, or you just want the ability to, you know, take your mic from your desk to maybe a living room setup, or let's say you're doing a podcast and you have different sets or something like that. This gives you a little bit more flexibility and just, you know, moving it around because it just stands on your desk. This is Wave Desk Stand. It has a it's also full metal construction. It comes with these little like rubber, essentially cable ties or holders, and so you can also get a really nice clean setup as you can see here. And this offer also ends tonight, as most of them do, if they haven't sold out already.
Stand right here, which again, similar to the microphone arms. I mean, it is a microphone arm in a sense, but again, 1/4-20, so you can put a camera on there, microphone, of course, a light, but it has adjustments as you I think alluded to, just the camera like that. Kind of reminds me of the Pixar camera from
a little
the
bit.
Camera Pixar light.
Yeah, the Pixar lamp.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we're missing the. I think they're silicone actually.
Yeah, they're like silicone ties, silicone ties.
Apple silicone.
Yep.
Ties. Elgato silicone. But yeah, this one's also. I mean, it's also a little bit compact as well because you can fold it up, take the stand off, and then take it with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's travel compact like that level.
No,
but
it's also rather heavy. But if you don't need something sticking up at your desk, you can just point it down again, and then
You could
get it
even
out
do
of the way.
something fun, like if you have a, if you have a camera and you need like a more overhead, you can do, or if you're an artist and you want to get close, you can, have this basically face the opposite direction too.
Mhm.
And yeah, so there's some nice stuff you can do with it. But definitely, I mean, we have a camera on here just for this little quick demo, but yeah, this is primarily a microphone arm, but it'll also work with a prompter and a camera as well. So yeah, this is available for $50 at the moment, so $49.99. Really awesome. I have a question for you, chat, and for everyone who's watching. Did you pick up a microphone arm, or are you thinking about it? Or what is essentially the next upgrade to your setup, to your audio setup? Is it a new mic? Is it a new arm? Is it switching from USB to XLR? Or the other way, just want to get that out of the way, that one is not necessarily better than the other. So it could be that you've always been eyeing XLR, and so you've been looking at a Wave DX or Wave XLR, or you've been looking at upgrading
Or
a
XLR
mic
dock.
arm. Yeah, or XLR dock. Um,
Yeah, or thinking outside the box a little bit, wave panels.
Wave panels, yes, which we do have a deal on those as well. The Wave panels white. So let's see, the Wave panels starter set white.
White ones are really in stock still?
Let me just check real quick. Mic on. Let me see here. Yeah, it looks like it looks like we still have stock of that. And the deal is live on Elgato.com. At least in the US. Again, I know, and I want to make sure if you're in a different region, we are primarily focusing on our US deals today. If you're in a different region, make sure you go to Elgato.com. On the homepage, you select in the drop-down list where you're based, and then the prices and even the dates and times and everything will adjust to your region. So huge props to our team for putting all that together, because that is a lot of data to make sure that it's all accurate and that it's all displaying correctly. So, but yeah, the Wave panel starter set. In fact, we're using some Wave panels white behind us. So the Wave panel starter set comes with 6 Wave panels as well as all of the mounting hardware to just put it up on your wall behind you, or maybe in front of you or to the side. And these are great for reducing like reverb and just overall giving your mic a little bit of a more impactful sound.
It in a way it kind of isolates the sound a little bit. So
Yeah.
like if you're if you clap your hands and you keep hearing the clap a little bit afterwards, that's the reverb. I don't know if that's the same thing as echo, but it the reflection. So the sound
Yep.
leaves your voice or leaves your mouth, hits the walls, comes back to the microphone. That's what wave panels help with. They absorb that reflection, and so you get a cleaner sound.
So I'm going to call out everyone in chat who doesn't have any furniture in their room. If you have a hardwood floor, no furniture, a desk and a chair, you probably have quite a bit of reverb. Wave panels is for you.
I'm imagining a streamer setup. It's just a desk, a chair, and nothing else. And then it's just like, don't tell anyone how I live or how I stream.
Our very own Brandon has that type of setup.
Why did you?
I'm calling him out. I'm putting him on blast. Yeah. So maybe Brandon needs Wave panels. But yeah,
I think we can hook him up.
Yeah, we probably could. But yeah, so Wave panels, they also just look nice. As in, if you want, again, those behind us, we've customized these a little bit.
What look like?
Essentially, but yeah, they also just look really nice. So yeah. Oh, we're getting the news that Brandon just put up Wave panels a few weeks ago.
Just in.
Yep. Very cool. So yeah, Wave panels white currently on sale for Wave panel starter set white for $80 in the US, which is fantastic. And since we're kind of on the topic of audio, why don't we take a look at Wave DX and Wave XLR? Now this is pretty cool. We'll cover Wave DX first. Brett and I are currently using a Wave DX, so that's the microphone right here. If you like the sound of it, this is Wave DX. This is our Elgato dynamic microphone, so it's an XLR mic. Doesn't need phantom power, doesn't need anything fancy. You just hook it up to your XLR input, or essentially audio interface, and you're rocking and rolling.
And it's also pretty easy to drive. If you've heard about dynamic microphones before, because you're trying to upgrade your audio, in the past, you may have heard that dynamic microphones, they require extra equipment, or they need like a special preamp or something. That isn't the case with Wave DX. You're getting great audio with Wave DX with just the microphone, an XLR cable, and audio interface. You don't need any special cloud lifters or anything to make this microphone sound great. That's what makes it. I mean, it's almost plug and play.
It's
in that
all
regard.
it almost is, yeah. There's no electronics. It's not like a USB mic where you then have to configure stuff. I mean, all of that happens on your XLR interface. So,
Plug it in, set the gain to like 45 decibels, and then go from there.
and maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I absolutely love the look of it. It's got this it's classy, it's modern,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's kind of understated, and it just looks good in a setup. When I'm using it in meetings or even, obviously on my own live stream,
Yeah.
I love the way it looks.
And all the voiceovers you hear on like our Elgato workshop videos, that's done with a Wave DX.
Yep.
Sort of as an extra, I mean, with a little bit of processing too, but that's another example of what the microphone can do with someone who sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and this will definitely give you a little bit more of that. Well, I guess radio voice or podcast voice.
True.
If you are into that. But I saw someone saying they love their Wave 3 because the software has you spoiled. Yeah, well, you can also get the Wavelink software. Not only do you get it with the Wave 3, but you also get it through other ways. For example, with the Wave XLR. But before I mention that, I should say that so we've been talking about Wave DX. It's currently on sale for 30% off. So normally it's $100, which also for a microphone of this quality is incredible. I mean, if you go on YouTube, you watch some audio quality tests, some differences between some other much more expensive microphones out there. Wave DX absolutely punches above its weight, which is awesome. So not only can you get it, normally for $100, but right now you can get it for $69.99. And again, that is a nice price, $69.99. That offer ends tonight. Again, in the US, you can get it on Amazon, Best Buy, or from Elgato.com.
Do we have a nice counter on screen? The stream?
That could be a Stream Deck button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, something to mention is because it's a dynamic mic and it's XLR, you do need an audio interface to power it, and you do need an XLR cable. It does not come with those. So
Yes.
you basically just get, and you need a mount for it. So something
Yep.
like a Wave Mic Arm LP or a Wave Mic Arm or
Wave desk stand as well.
or a Wave desk stand, or if you already have your own mic arm, awesome. It'll probably 99% of the time work with that mic arm as well.
The Wave DX comes with the adapters for essentially every standard.
I think you actually have one over there. I don't know if you can pull it up.
Where?
It's laying right there. Maybe the adapters are still. I don't know if are they in there.
Oh, they are.
They are. Yeah.
So right now this is configured. If I can show that. But anyways, it's
If you have like a coin or a key, you can get the adapter out.
it's configured for a 1/4 inch right now.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, this is essentially what you get. You get the Wave DX. You get the adapter in there if you need it. And then, well, you just plug it into your mic arm, you plug it into your XLR cable, and there we go. And Brett's got it. So
Sorry.
that is Wave DX, where you get it for 30% off at the moment.
that-
And of course, that combos really, really nicely with something else that we can touch on in just a bit.
Why am I spending so much time on this?
We got to show the people.
Okay. What I was going to say is there's actually so for both the microphone arms, the Wave desk stand, but also the microphones, they support 3 different threads. So that's the standard 5/8. That's the largest size you're going to find on like professional, like not instrument. What's the name? The classic ones you see in like band rooms and stuff.
I don't know if there's a specific name. It's just like a mic stand, or maybe even just like
mic
a C stand or something like that.
Well, these are a little bit tight together, but
Yeah.
this is actually 2 adapters in here. This goes from 5/8 to 3/8 or 5/8 to 1/4.
Yeah.
So that's your 3 main attachment threads. So, and it comes with DX. You don't have to buy that separately.
And so then the question becomes, well, okay, if you want a Wave DX, how do you actually attach it to your computer since it's XLR? And we have our Wave XLR audio interface for that. So this is the Wave XLR here. It's normally $160. You can get it for $130. So that is 20% off. And this thing is quite incredible. So it's an audio interface, meaning it takes in an XLR input from something like a Wave DX, or you can also bring your own microphone, of course. You've got a headphone output, and then you also have a USB connection. And that USB connection, that goes to your computer. What's really cool about this is not only does it drive your microphone then, but it also gives you access to the Wavelink software, which we can also cover in a little bit. On the front, you have a couple controls here. So you have you have this big old dial, and you essentially can you can tap on it to change the control mode. So you can change your gain, your headphone volume, and also your mic and PC mix ratio. Basically, how much you're hearing yourself, and then also how much you're hearing your computer audio. And that's all shown right on this set of LEDs here. And then on the back, you have a capacitive mute button. Now, this is pretty cool because essentially when it's standing on your desk, it's facing away from you. You essentially just hit the back of the Wave XLR like that. You don't even need to look. It's just this entire area is a big capacitive surface. You just tap it, and it engages the hardware mute. So it's really simple to mute yourself. You just tap on it. The LEDs turn red. You know you're muted, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and it's like a capacitive mute button. So unlike some other microphones that you may have used where it's like ka-chunk, and other people on the call hear that, it's silent because all that requires is your finger just to do the lightest touch against that sensor, essentially, and you're muted. And also, all the LEDs will change to a different color. By default, I think it's red.
Yeah.
But what's cool about Wave XLR is you can actually change those colors in Wave Link.
You can, yeah. You can customize the colors. It also comes with 48-volt phantom power. So if you do have a condenser microphone, then you can hook that up, and it'll drive that no problem. It also has ClipGuard on it. And now this is pretty cool. So essentially, ClipGuard ensures that, well, maybe you've been into a live stream or recorded audio where someone's getting a little loud and you hear some crackling and it sounds like your headphones are kind of breaking. It's not great. That's clipping because essentially the microphone is being overdriven. It can't kind of keep up with the level of sound. And so this has ClipGuard on it. And what that does is it more or less guarantees that you can never clip. Now, you still could if you get like way too loud, if you put it like next to a jet engine. But in normal day-to-day,
if you have access to one of those,
yeah, if you in normal day-to-day, if you're just streaming or if you're in a call and you're with friends and you guys are in the last 45 minutes of the League of Legends game and it's coming down to the wire, your jungler's not pulling their weight. Like, trust me, we've all been there. ClipGuard will save the day. You can get really loud and you will not be clipping.
And it's one of those technologies that, like, it doesn't. There's other technologies out there like compressors or limiters that kind of do the same thing, but they also change how you sound. ClipGuard is like invisible. Like you're not as loud. Like it smoothly rounds over those really loud sections because it's in the hardware. This isn't a software feature. It's in the device in real time. Is essentially switching to like a lower gain level on like, I don't know the technical aspects, but it's so fast that it's seamless. And so if you're playing a horror game or something like that, and normally you're cool and collected, but then you get really excited when something happens, ClipGuard saves you.
And what Brett was mentioning is that this is not a software solution. This is actually in the hardware. And the difference there is once the clipped audio reaches your computer and you do software manipulation, it's kind of too late. Yeah. The bad audio is already in your computer.
On other audio interfaces.
Yeah, and so it's really important that you get clean audio in, and how do you do that? Well, you do it via the hardware. And so that's why it's integrated on hardware on Wave XLR. And so again, it's $160 normally. You can get it for $130 right now.
And I want to add into that, because it's in a Wave XLR, like if you have another microphone you really like using, that microphone now is ClipGuard through the means of Wave XLR.
So yeah, even if you have something like an SM7B, an RE2020, a AT2040, I mean, it really 2024, yeah, right. It doesn't have to be an Elgato mic. Then you can absolutely connect that up to your Wave XLR. You get access to the capacitive mute. You get access to ClipGuard. You get access to Wavelink, which is incredibly powerful. And you just get this sleek piece of kit here for the low price of $130 right now. Again, and this deal ends today at midnight Pacific time. So
59
PT. Yeah. Chronic Mayhem says, so it's a limiter. Not exactly, because a limiter, there's digital limiters and I mean there's also analog limiters, but essentially the limiter will just simply cap out, and like even if you have bad audio, it just simply says, okay, I'm not going to let you go over this decibel level or this volume level.
Yeah, this is a feature. You can think of it as being part of the preamp, so it's part of the analog stage. This isn't an effect where it's dropping it in post. This is happening while it's being converted to the digital signal.
And then Akira asks, so with Wave XLR, you can mute yourself. Can you show us how again, please? Absolutely. This is Wave XLR here. This is the back of it. And I simply, as I'm using it, can tap on the back of it and that's how it mutes. It's that simple. There's no button to press. I just simply tap on it, and then it's muted. The LEDs on the front will turn red. And
Actually, could we plug it into the Mac and show it?
if you have a cable, absolutely, we can do this. We can do this live.
Done in hardware.
Yeah. Get crafty.
Charging my Mac, but
Oh, I guess yeah, we can do mine. Let's see. There we go.
we should see the camera, right? We might have to make those a little bit brighter. Oh yeah, it's right there.
I think it might. If you give it to me, then it'll be a little bit further back.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
seeing it on the camera right
Oh,
there.
okay.
but
Yeah.
The LEDs
yeah.
are a little bit dim right now because we have a lot of lights up, but
Yeah.
and in that respect, the Wave XLR works in hardware.
Yeah. And so yeah, it faces away. The mute button essentially faces away from you, and so you don't need to look. That's the other nice thing. You just kind of hit the back, maybe with 2 fingers, 3 fingers, something like that. You just hit the back, and you're good to go. And now what's really cool about this is, I believe, so we were talking about how with Wave DX you need an XLR cable, you need a mount. Obviously, if you don't have an XLR interface yet, then you need a XLR interface. And I think we have a couple bundles as well available. So let me head on over. I'm going to head back to. So let me head on over to the other setup here. And let me show you some of the bundles that we have going on. So if you've been thinking about getting into, getting a Wave DX or just switching to essentially XLR pipeline, then you can do that with our bundles here. So we have 2. We have an XLR audio bundle low profile, and then we have our overhead. And what you get with this is a Wave DX, a mic arm LP, the XLR cable, and a Wave XLR, all for just $250. So that's a savings of, 34%. I was about to try and do math, but yeah. So you go from $380 down to $250. So that's a savings of what, $130? Does that make sense? No. I'm not going to try and math. 34%. You save 34% across all of these. And so what's nice is this is just one package. You literally, you get this bundle, you get the mic arm, you get the mic, you get the cable and the XLR audio interface, and you get Wavelink along with that, thanks to the Wave XLR. So this is an incredible deal. If you've been looking at, if you want a more traditional microphone arm, then you have the other bundle, which is the XLR audio bundle with the overhead mic, or simply just the Wave mic arm. So you get the same gear, you get the Wave DX, XLR cable, Wave XLR, as well as then the regular Wave mic arm. And that has that same discount, so up to 34%. And yeah, this just gets you going right away. You don't need to worry about compatibility. You don't need to worry about, do I have everything I need? The simple answer is yes, you get everything. This is really, really awesome. Now, if you do want to take it up a step further, there's even a Pro bundle, which this is basically the same as the mic arm LP bundle, except that it comes with the mic arm Pro. You get the Wave DX, the XLR cable, the Wave XLR, and then the Wave mic arm Pro. And this is normally $520, and now it's only $349. So that is quite incredible. Ibiscus asks, wait, am I able to plug in my headphones as well into the XLR audio interface? And does it support big power headphones with 250 ohms? Yes. So the Wave XLR on the back has a 3.5 millimeter stereo headphone output, and that does power headphones up to 250 ohms. I think above that, this isn't exactly a headphone, like a pro headphone amp. So 250 ohms is probably the limit there to get still comfortable volume level. I personally use Audio-Technica DT770s at 80 ohms, and it gets... Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I used a very similar model.
And so it gets plenty loud for 80 ohms. And I think Brett, you use 250 ohm headphones.
Kind of a Wave XLR in a different form factor. And for those type of headphones, you will need to run them. You will need to run the headphone output a little bit louder. But it totally is able to work. And I'm using the 250 ohm model. And yeah, someone was saying just goes right in the back. There's 3 ports in the back there: XLR, USB, and 3.5 millimeter. And that's all there is. XLR, USB, and...
Yeah. So that's audio, and again, there's also the Wavelink software that comes with Wave XLR, and we will talk about that in a little bit. But I still want to go through. There's even more incredible deals that we have. I mean, we could spend all day talking about these, and hey, that's what we're doing. So let's talk about also we have USB mics. So you know, if you're looking to maybe upgrade, like let's say you have a microphone that you've been using for a number of years, and you want to step up the quality a little bit. Or you've gone XLR and you kind of want to go back to USB because it might be simpler. Again, there's no right or wrong way there. Then take a look at the Wave 3 here. We've got both the white and the black version with offers ending on, well, again, today, midnight Pacific time. And this is Wave 3. I mean, this is our condenser microphone. It's a USB connected microphone, so you just plug it in via USB cable, and then it just it just works. You'll sound great. You get a lot of the same controls as with the Wave XLR. So on the front of the mic, you get the microphone gain adjustment, the headphone volume adjustment, as well as basically the mix ratio between how much you hear your own voice to monitor and make sure you sound good, and how much you hear the sound of your computer. And then on the top, there's also a capacitive mute button. So very similar to the Wave XLR, you also get that capacitive mute. You just tap on the top and then it is muted. And this is quite incredible. I mean, 30% off. Normally, Wave 3 is $150. You can now get it for $110. I think that's the lowest price I've ever seen it at. Don't, if someone wants to fact check me, please do. But I believe this is the lowest that I've seen for a Wave 3 so far. That is awesome. That is really awesome. And remember, with that, you also get access to our Wavelink software. So it's not just the hardware, but you also get access to Wavelink here. So you get the sub-mixing, your headphone mix, your stream mix. You get access to all of the audio effects here. So if you want a compressor, noise removal, an EQ, you get that. And actually what you guys are seeing is a little sneak peek here at the Wavelink 2.0 update, where we improve the audio routing. So simply selecting an app right within Wavelink instead of having to go into the sound settings, as well as just some updated UI. There's also a big mute button now. So Wavelink is software that comes with the Wave XLR and the Wave 3 mic, and it adds even more features to your microphone. It keeps evolving and growing over time in features, making it just an incredible value. But yeah, that's Wave 3, also on sale for $110. Both the white and the black version should be still available. I'm not sure if it's on Amazon or just Elgato. Nope, it looks like we still have the white one on Amazon in the US, and take a look here. Do we still have the black one? Yep, that's also still going right now. So yeah, that's Wave 3. We also have some bundles here for Wave 3. So we have two. We've got the Wave mic bundle. So here you get a low profile mic arm as well as the Wave 3 and a pop filter and a shock mount. So you might be wondering what a pop filter is. Essentially, a pop filter adds like a mesh in front of the mic to prevent air from hitting the microphone capsule. And what that does is it means you don't get those kind of harsh, kind of thumpy sounds when you're talking. And then the shock mount ensures that, let's say you're typing on your keyboard or you just bump your desk, that those shock waves, that's why it's called a shock mount, those shock waves from basically the vibrations don't go into the microphone and then get picked up by the capsule. And then on the so yeah, you can get that for $230. Normally it's $320. So you're also saving quite a bit there, 28%. And then there's also a desk stand bundle. So this is if you, again, want something that's a little bit more portable. This is like, let's say you travel quite a bit, then, the mic desk stand might be for you. This bundle is a Wave 3, a shock mount, a pop filter, and some Wave extension rods. And so essentially it uses the same stand that you get with the Wave 3, and you can add some extension rods here, and then it becomes like a little desk stand that's a little bit taller, and so you get even better audio with it. And boy, my messages are just blowing up right now. Hopefully everything is correct and nothing's going wrong. And I think that covers all of our audio deals, right? We talked XLR, we talked USB,
yeah, and a bit. I just wanted
arms.
to quickly, because we finished up talking about
right, do you think we should take a look at Wavelink?
Wave XLR and then Wave 3. Why should someone choose Wave 3 or Wave XLR or an XLR mic? I think we kind of alluded to that a little bit, but I mean, basically, a USB microphone like a Wave 3 is a little simpler setup. You have one cable.
Yep.
It also had a different sound because this is a condenser type microphone. The Watt Edition, Wave 3. Love that like Stormtrooper type look to it. So it's going to be, a different sound characteristic because it's condenser. But with XLR, say Wave XLR or Wave DX, having an XLR setup is more about control because you can use whatever XLR microphone you want with Wave DX or Wave XLR or XLR dock. If you have a Wave DX, you can use other interfaces. So it's a little bit more about control, but either one's going to give you, especially with the right techniques, can give you incredible sound.
Yeah, in terms of the general audio, like is one better than the other? It's a question we get quite a lot, right? Is condenser better than dynamic? Is or is XLR better than USB? And I wouldn't necessarily judge the microphones based on that. It really comes down to, does it sound good, to you? And does it fulfill the purpose that you need a microphone for? Do you have a loud environment? Then a dynamic microphone is probably the better choice. If you have a very sound controlled environment, let's say you're just in your room, you generally don't need a fan, it's pretty quiet, then hey, Wave 3 is awesome. It's a condenser mic. That's awesome. In fact, even for both of those, the reality is with Wavelink and with the software these days and processing, even there, you can do a lot of things to make them sound very similar or tweak them, right?
Yeah.
If your Wave 3 is picking up a little bit too much background noise, add some noise removal, which you can get for free with our Wavelink software. If Wave DX is a little bit too quiet for you, just boost the gain a little bit. Or if you want it to sound a little fuller, then you could add a compressor onto it. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do in software if you do want to achieve something that's a little bit more than, say, what the mic is giving you itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it really just comes down to, you like the sound of it, and then also there's a looks question to it. Wave DX and Wave 3, they look different. If you want to looks max your setup, then that might factor into the equation.
Someone was to talk a little more about the differences in just condenser versus dynamic. For a condenser microphone, it's going to be more sensitive, generally speaking. So going to pick up more sounds, more details. So if you're someone who's doing an ASMR stream, a condenser mic like Wave 3 would be something to certainly consider. Wave DX with its dynamic capsule is, I hesitate to paint broad strokes, but a lot of people consider it to be the more professional podcasting sound, just due to, there's a couple of factors to it. So first of all, it does really great when you get close up to it. It just sounds really, really rich, really warm when you get really up close to the Wave DX front of the microphone. But also it has a very flat kind of response curve. And so you can do a lot of tweaking with equalizers in post, which you can also get for free with Wavelink.
Yeah.
And then you can pipe that into all your other video conferencing or call software. So you can sound like you're in a radio station in your Zoom call.
I think in the past, if we look historically, condenser microphones were the ones that are usually used for vocals. So if you look even at videos from 50 years ago, do they have video back then? Yeah. If you look at pictures and videos from 50 years ago in recording studios, for music or just, vocal booths, they would have condenser microphones. That's just kind of been the go-to. If you had situations where you needed to pick up like an instrument, you might actually use dynamic because it can deal a little bit more with just incredibly loud sounds.
Dynamics are used on like drums.
Yeah.
I know that much. What I was going to say though is, like, again, neither one is necessarily better than the other. And in fact, plenty of radio stations, you've seen it over time, use the SM7B, this famous microphone. But then I know NPR used Neumann condenser microphones for the voiceovers. Both are radio stations, but use different types of microphones, even though everyone says, dynamic is the way you go for radio station sound. But then here you have, this long-running radio broadcasting corporation, not corporation, but group use condenser microphones. And that's also why you can tell when they need to take a drink of water, because their audio is really, really detailed.
Yeah.
So it totally depends on your environment, how you speak, and what you're looking to get out of your audio.
So a question for you, chat. for those of you watching who have, a dedicated mic already, what type of mic do you have? Let's, I don't know if we could set up a poll. Maybe the production team can do that. Don't know. But for now, we can just ask in chat, what do you use? Do you use a dynamic mic or do you use a condenser mic? So Lady Vic says a Wave DX. Dre the Moose, a Blue Yeti, which that's a condenser. Oak Attack, I have both, but I use dynamic now. Boom 782 with a condenser. Okay, so yeah, good mix of both there. Really good mix. See, and that's the nice thing. There's a really nice mix of both, and what it comes down to, Blazin 4QB says headset microphone. That's probably a condenser. Actually, I think most headset mics are condenser mics.
It certainly depends on the price range.
Yeah.
Because also dynamic, the capsule is simpler, and so against condenser microphones require phantom power. So if you're using Wave XLR, generally speaking, I don't want to again say every microphone, but a condenser usually requires power.
Hey, maybe we should someday do one of those like not necessarily a Mythbusters episode, but 10 myths about something cheesy.
Yeah.
And okay, listen, chat. I know it's clickbaity and cringe, but like 10 myths about streamer audio, or 10 myths about creator sound, something like that. And then we can talk about this stuff because it is really cool, and I think it's a really interesting topic that does get generally, you if you post on Twitter or you post on some other place, everyone will recommend you usually the same thing, and it's like, well, hang on, there's a little bit more to the story. But remember, the real story here is that we have incredible sales, which are going on until midnight tonight Pacific time. So that's 11:59 p.m. Pacific. So if you've been looking at picking up a mic, now is your chance. You can get up to just pull it up here again because we have so many cool deals. You can get up to 30% off on Wave DX, 20% off on Wave XLR, and for the Wave 3 in both black and white, you can get up to 30% off. Again, I think that's the lowest the price has been so far, which is awesome.
And 20% off the wave panels.
Yep, and then there's the wave panels as well. Yeah, so and then don't forget the bundles, right? If you are currently using like someone was saying, a headset mic, or you're kind of starting your audio journey, those bundles will get you going right away. I mean, that literally includes everything that you need to get great audio. So yeah, that's a a quick chat there about all of our audio gear. I'm curious, does our production team have maybe a community? Is there an audio community video? Maybe not. Oh, we don't actually. Okay, I know we have a couple for Stream Deck then. But with that being said, shall we talk about what else do we have actually? We have not Stream Deck yet. We've talked.
On the docket?
Oh, we should probably talk cameras, huh? Cameras, capture, lighting. There's still a couple more things we need to go through.
Certainly.
Let's talk prompter for a second, folks.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I mean, follow me on this one.
It might seem crazy what we're about to say.
Prompter normally $360, and right now you can get it for 30% off, and it's only $200. But wait, there's more. If you order it from Elgato.com today, you get a free Keylight Mini and Cold Shoe with that. Which that is, I mean, you essentially get a light that's wireless, it's battery powered. It can also be powered via USB if you want to. And you get a Cold Shoe, which you can use to mount something on top of prompter, like that light or an additional microphone or something like that. That is wild. I like, that's almost highway robbery. I mean, prompter is so useful. In fact, we're using one right now. If you've been wondering how we're reading chat and looking at you at the same time, we're using a prompter. The setup behind me, I don't know if you can tell, but that little thing right there, that's prompter right there that I've been using to read chat. So yeah, prompter is incredible. We just somewhat recently had a software update for it, which added voice sync.
Ooh, yeah.
And voice sync basically lets you, you can read a script and it follows your voice. I want to show you that. So check this out, right? Let's talk a little bit about prompter. You can read a script and it follows your voice. I want to show you that. So check this out, right? Let's talk a little bit about prompter. So we've got first of all, we've got the deal here. So again, you can save up to 30% depending on your region and availability. Just go to elgato.com. You can go to the prompter section here on the left side. And then you can, again, it's just incredible. Normally it's $365. You can get it for $199. Really awesome. The deal ends tonight, or while supplies last. There's even and we talked about this earlier with the mic arms. There is a pro bundle, and that bundle is $270, and that comes with a Wave mic arm LP, which that is awesome. So you can see here it actually mounts on the prompter, and so this is really cool if you're in more of a confined space. But let's say your desk is a little bit smaller, then you can use this mic arm, put your prompter on there, record your script, do your live stream, and then move it out of the way when you're done. You also get the Cold Chew and the Keylight Mini with that. So just an absolutely incredible value. Both of these are just insane. I mean, 42%, that's almost 50%, right? We're almost there. But yeah, so the software with Prompter, let's take a look here. Camera Hub, let me open that up. So this is the Prompter software right here, and you essentially get 3 modes with it. You get a display mode, and a display mode is pretty much just that. Prompter is a third display for your computer, or a second display for your computer. So you can put anything you want on the prompter. You can put a chat box, you can put a video, you could even put a game on there, you can put Discord on there. It doesn't matter. All you do is you take your window, you drag it onto the prompter, and it just sits there like another monitor. The second mode is text mode, and this is where you might put in a script for a video, or maybe you have, let's say you're doing a podcast, and you've got some notes that you kind of want to cover, or like key topics, and you want a quick reminder. Then you can put those here into script mode. And the script mode is super powerful. It gives you a lot of options for adjusting, things like the font size, the horizontal and vertical margins, the line spacing to make it easier to read, the text color, the text background color, the opacity, even the font itself. Tons of customization options. And then it comes to scrolling. So let's say you have your script normally, and on most prompters out there, what happens is you click on, scroll, and it'll simply scroll at a steady pace. The problem with that is, though, let's say you mess up a line, or let's say you want to read something a little bit slower, or you're talking or reading very fast. That's usually my problem, is I read too fast because I get excited. Then it actually doesn't really keep up with you. And so what we added in a recent software update is a feature we call voice sync. Voice sync, what it does is using AI, it will compare what you're saying to the actual script and then move the script for you. So it's like a little bit like your own personal teleprompter operator. So check this out. I've got voice sync active now. I'm going to hit play here, and I'm just going to start reading. Ready to roll the camera? Whether it's a video script or talking points, Camera Hub and Prompter give you full control over your delivery. Try that one more time. I think the emoji here is actually causing it to get hung up. So without the emoji. All right. Ready to roll the camera? Whether it's a video script or talking points, Camera Hub and Prompter give you full control over your delivery. There we go. See? And now the cool thing is I can stop talking about the script or stop reading it, talk to you about something else, and then I can actually go back to the script if I want to. So if I say your delivery, here in text mode, Prompter automatically mirrors anything you enter onto its screen. See? And I can just keep going. This is really cool. So even if you have a script, and let's say you just want to veer off topic for a little bit, then you can absolutely do that, and it'll just wait for you to get back on script. And so this is absolutely, we use it in all of our video production. Anytime you see myself or Brett or anyone else from Elgato on camera, there is a 99.9% chance that they are using a teleprompter, our teleprompter, with this feature. Now, I should mention that voice sync, because it does use AI, it does need a little bit of processing power. So it's available on Windows if you have an NVIDIA RTX GPU, or on Mac if you have an M1 Mac or newer. So, any Mac from like the last 4 or 5 years with Apple Silicon will do the trick. So that's voice sync. And there's other cool features too. You can add an overlay so you know where the camera is or kind of where to look. You can change that as well. And then the last, or the third mode, is chat. And so this is actually what we're using right now. So here you can see we have the Elgato channel added. And so when you guys type into the chat, you'll actually see it. And obviously I can look at the camera and I can talk with you guys. And I did see the comments about the desync. We'll take a look at that and see if we can solve that. We are doing some pretty intricate live production here. So something may have gotten out of sync. We'll try to get that fixed. But yeah, so I can say like one topic, one topic says, "Ooh, teleprompters caught my eye." Kugelblitz says, "Hey," with a little heart. And
Now, is this
Tazaza
feature only
says,
for
"Bought one during
English?
Black Friday. Really awesome stuff." Right, so I can just look at the camera and talk to you guys while reading the chat.
Now, is this feature only for English?
No, so the voice sync actually works in a bunch of different languages. Pretty much the most spoken ones out there, and we just are in a new beta. We're adding a couple more. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's the usual ones: English, German, Spanish, French. I think we just added Chinese. We've got what else? It's like 10 or 15 languages at this point, if not more. So make sure you check our website to see if the language that you want to use is supported. But yeah, it is a ton. So that's Prompter. The cool thing is we're going to keep adding even more features to Camera Hub software to make your Prompter even more powerful. And we're working on a lot of cool stuff there. So you get Prompter today. Again, you get it for just $200, and we'll keep adding new features. I guess one thing we should probably mention also is what cameras does Prompter work with. So Brett, what cameras does Prompter work with?
Almost all of them.
And how does it work with those?
Okay. So when you get Prompter,
let me see if I can actually grab you something.
Is it a Prompter?
It's a Prompter. It is a Prompter box.
Wow.
So while Brett unpacks that, let's unpack Prompter a little bit. Prompter works with nearly any camera out there. So it works with, of course, our Elgato webcams. It works with other third-party webcams, so it doesn't have to be one from us. It works with smartphones. It works with DSLR and mirrorless cameras. And so now we can talk a little bit about how that works.
So if you like Lego, this is perfect. So with Prompter, you have this sort of open back here, and this is for putting in these backplates. And these are custom designed for the particular camera that you're using. Now, Prompter comes with a backplate for Facecam Pro. So if you have a Facecam Pro, slide it in the back there, you screw it in, and your camera fits in the back there. And the purpose of that little indent is for it's like a light trap.
Yep.
It prevents light from coming in through the back there. So it has a backplate designed for Facecam Pro, but we also have this universal shroud. This fits in
essentially much the same way, right?
Trying to catch up with which camera's on.
So it just slots right into the back. It's another back plate.
And so you place your DSLR, mirrorless camera, the action camera could be an iPhone or something like that, assuming you have the an actual mount for it, which we'll talk about in a second. Then you put this cloth over the back, again, to prevent the light from going through the prompter, because what you really want is to prevent light from going this way, because there's of course a mirror there. And so it's very important that you control the light going into your prompter. And then finally, so the universal shroud backplate that I was showing here, you can really use this for any camera as long as it's small enough to fit into the opening of prompter. So this will work for every camera, but it's a little bulky. So if you can use the dedicated backplate for your particular camera, which you can also 3D print some.
You can, yep.
And we have the files for that on Marketplace. And then I guess it's really in this box here.
Yeah.
But this is bring that there as well.
This is the L bracket that the prompter uses to actually mount. If you have a webcam or a phone, then this L bracket essentially attaches to the back of the prompter. So you put your camera on the top of it here, and then this can shift up and down or forward and backwards as well. And that's how you attach your camera to it. Or
yeah, so in almost every case, if the camera is on the smaller side, it's going to mount to the prompter. But there's the exception, which is if you have we're using some pretty nice cameras here, and I'll just pull out one ring here to give you an example. But this, actually, there's the screws in the box. Let me attach.
This is a live unboxing.
Screws are always in the. All right.
Got it?
I got it. Okay, so the last backplate is the ring backplate. And so you can see that right there. So this, just like the others, goes into the backplate. I'll just put one screw in there. And so you attach this ring to the front of your camera. We have, I think it's 9 different sizes from
42 millimeter to, I think it's like 90.
82 is the largest.
Or, oh, okay, yeah.
But also 82 is pretty large. That's going to be on your, unless you're using those massive, like, bazooka sized cameras, they're generally going to be 82 millimeter filter thread. The screws onto the end of it, and then maybe we can go to the front camera. But
it essentially, the prompter hangs off the front, and it sounds worse than it is. I mean, this gear is meant to support that, but
it's very lightweight, which is a key part of that. It's easier if you have an actual camera to slide it in there, but the ring fits into the ring backplate, so this rests on the end of your lens, and that's how we do it for, like, if you've seen our flashback episodes.
Yep.
The live stream here. Yeah, that's generally how we're doing it because we like to use those big lenses.
And so with Prompter, I mean, it really does change your workflow from using scripts and you know being able to read them and not having to remember what the words are to a live stream like this where we're using it to read chat live and we're keeping eye contact. That is, I mean, that's Prompter. And so the final thing is, so you've connected it to a camera. We've also shown how it works in the software, but how it works, how it connects to your computer is also incredibly simple. That is done via a simple USB cable. So it comes with a USB-C cable, USB-A on one side, USB-C on the other, and you simply plug in that USB cable to your computer and then to the prompter, and you're good to go. It gets video and power over the one cable, which is quite awesome, and it makes it super simple. You don't need you don't need to use your tablet as a display or anything like that. You simply plug in the USB cable to your Mac or your PC, and then you're rocking and rolling. So yeah, Prompter is awesome. And again, you can get it for. Let me make sure.
I've unboxed and put away quite a few prompters. So.
Oh yeah.
The one thing I wanted to bring up is, like, you don't have to use it for scripts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can use it for. I mean, we were showing chat. I mean, that's how we're using it here. But also, like, put a video on it. You can put a game on it. It's an extra monitor.
You can put a meeting on it. So that's another way I use it. I'll put my for those of you out there who are working, you might use Slack or Teams or Zoom. You can also just put your Zoom meeting on there. And so what's cool about that is, and it almost feels a little bit like cheating. You can also put a PowerPoint up there. And so if you've got a presentation, could be work, could be school, something like that, you simply put your presentation on Prompter. And, obviously you don't want to read the presentation word for word, but that way you have that as notes. And if there's any big numbers, it's like, oh yeah, and in this quarter we did X amount of sales and we, improved the percentage of X, Y, Z. And everyone's like, how are they remembering that?
He's just so good at it.
They're just so good. They're so good. And it's like, nope, you've been using a teleprompter. It's a little bit like cheating. So with that being said, you can also cheat us by getting Prompter for 30% off. Sorry, that was terrible. You can get Prompter currently for $199. Normally, that bundle is $365. You can get it for $199, which is 30% off. And remember, you get a Keylight Mini and a cold shoe with that if you order from Elgato.com. So that's pretty incredible. Yeah, that's Prompter.
That's crazy.
Now cameras, do we still have, want to just make sure we are still doing cameras because you guys have been going crazy on these deals. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's still active. So yes, on the camera front, we have Facecam Mark II available for, normally it's $150. Now it's $119, so $120. This is also incredible. I mean, it's one of the best looking like 1080p 60 cameras you can get at the moment.
The colors on it are just fantastic.
Really good.
For being such a tiny little camera, it's not, you think, you have to have a really big camera for having great colors and great dynamic range, but it just sits on your monitor, 1080p, 60 FPS, does high dynamic range at 60 FPS, which is, I think, still not done by anyone.
Not really. No, I think most webcams will go down to then 30 FPS. So Facecam Mark II gives you HDR video, which by the way is slightly different from capture card HDR.
Yeah.
In case you're there, it could be a little confusing. Cameras and capture cards and TVs have a little bit of crossover, but there are different technical backgrounds to those two terms. But yeah, so you get 1080p 60 HDR. We spent a lot of time on the color tuning just so that it looks great out of the box. And it's a very neutral tone. So, and this is kind of again something that's interesting. If you just get Facecam Mark II out of the box and you set it up and you're like, you know, these colors, they aren't as punchy as I might have imagined. That's actually on purpose because the colors are more accurate and more essentially lifelike. Now, if you want that pop, what's nice too is because of those neutral colors, you can add that. If you want to increase the contrast, increase the saturation, you can just do that in post. You can add that as a filter in OBS, for example. You can do that in Camera Hub. You can do that in your video editing software. We wanted to give you a just really good, clean, neutral camera quality out of the box because then you have more ability to work with it. We could have also punched up that contrast and saturation, really made it just punchy and kind of in your face.
I mean, it's kind of like if you're shopping for TVs at a big box store. They put them on the most sort of punchy mode possible to really make them stand out. But then when you bring them home, you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then you dial it back to something more, something more neutral that fits much more, well, in the case of TV, like more content. But for Facecam Mark II, it's more about fitting way more environments. Yeah, with the way a particular camera may be made, it's in an environment where there's harsh lighting or something, and they're trying to play it safe a little bit.
And the thing is, you can't go back. It's the same thing with the audio when we're talking about the microphones. Once you have clipped audio coming into your computer, it's already clipped. So that's what you have to work with. Same with video. If you have super contrasty, really, just, and I keep using the word punchy because that's a good way to just describe it. And I see someone said exclamation point punchy. I don't think we have that set up. I guess we could.
A punchy counter.
If you get that video in, you can't really, because all that information has been encoded already, you can't really take it out again. It would be very difficult. So, you want to start with something a little bit more neutral, and that gives you the ability to tweak it how you want. But honestly, in most cases, you don't even need to. I mean, it's just made really in a way where, your skin tones, you're going to appear really great. So Facecam Mark II currently on sale for 20% off. I'm also not sure, is this the first time we've done this?
120.
Yeah, you can get it for, normally it's 149, you can get it for 119. That's wild. I mean, the fact that you can get a mic in a camera for just above 200 is pretty wild, right? Like you get like a Wave 3 and a Facecam Mark II.
And you basically revolutionize your video calling.
Yeah.
Or content creation, the visual and the audio.
Yeah.
Massive upgrade.
So yeah, and then of course, not only do you get great video quality, but you also get Camera Hub software with it. I was showing it earlier with Prompter, but that allows you to control everything. And we'll take a look at the camera settings again in a little bit here. But let's see, maybe I should consider Ready Player B. That's a great name. Maybe I should consider MK2 instead of Pro then. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. So one, I mean, the most obvious difference there is it's gonna be the price. Let's be honest. Facecam Pro is $300. Facecam Mark II is $119. So, if you're price conscious and looking at that, then absolutely, MK2 might be the way to go. Facecam Pro though is, in terms of features, very different. Facecam Pro can do 4K 60 over USB, which is incredible. It's got even better colors. It's got a much bigger sensor, so it lets in more light. It's got just better processing on board.
It has autofocus.
It has autofocus, right?
PTZ.
Or manual focus. Yeah.
So you can zoom in and move around the frame without moving the camera. So and also with Camera Hub, you have presets.
Yep.
For frame presets. So you can, let's say you're doing like a cooking stream or something like that. You have the camera in one spot. You have a preset to the stove where you're working at, and then you have a wide one when you're talking to chat or something like that. That's where the larger sensor, the 4K sensor, but also actually, I believe Facecam Mark II also has PTZ, but they work a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Facecam Pro is, because it has the 4K sensor, retains quality when you zoom in much more. Facecam Mark II is a 1080p camera, so it still has that feature, but you're going to be using PTZ a lot, which, just so I'm not using the acronym all the time, pan tilt zoom.
And it's technically ePTZ because it's not actually moving the camera, it's moving within that 4K frame. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Facecam Pro is not on sale. It is just the Facecam Mark II. Again, you can get it for 20% off right now, up to 20% off in your region while supplies last. And that brings it down to $119. Wild. Again, really great deal there.
I was getting carried away talking about cameras. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, you know, when you put the Facecam Mark II and the prompter together, you know, using that for streams, using that for meetings, and I thought, ooh, it looks like we're getting rated. Who's rating us? Shout out to whoever is rating us. Thank you, thank you. Is it Shibuya Kaho? Oh, thank you, Shibuya.
Get some exclamation point punchies in the chat.
But yeah, so you know, you combine Facecam Mark II with prompter, you get absolutely incredible video, you get all the workflow improvements and the ease of use of prompter. You know, if you're just doing video calls, if you're working, it's great for that. It's great for live streaming. It's great for just recording. You know, if you're doing commentaries or, you know, even video essays, right? If you've got one of those 30-minute videos and or 30-minute just essay on, you know, some sort of, if you want to deep dive some sort of topic, prompter just makes that incredibly easy.
Yeah.
So that's prompter and cameras. And then we're coming up here. Let's see. Let's do capture. Let's talk a little bit about what we have going on the capture card side of things. We have some deals there, but I'm getting the word from our producer that we might be cutting over to a little segment here. We've got Chris who's going to tell us about some of our capture deals. Chris, do you want to take it away?
Hold on to your controllers, folks, because we're tracking a high-definition hurricane of capture cards on sale with up to 33% off in various regions. We got HD60X, we got 4KX, we got 4K Pro, all on sale all week, ready to blow their way onto your content creation setup. Elgato capture cards are blowing in with crystal clear 4K visuals and low latency streaming. No more time limits, no more pixelated skies. You want HDR? You want VRR and 120 FPS recordings? You can get all three right now, but you gotta act fast, as this vortex of clarity is about to hit your streams and recordings, capturing every moment. If you're ready to ride the storm, jump in now before these deals blow right away.
I'm here. Wow, what an incredible, thank you, Chris. That was incredible. Just a flurry of deals today, folks. Absolutely wild. Yeah, so we've got what? A couple things going on here. We've got 4KX, which is on sale for 20% off, which means you can get a HDMI 2.1 capture card that can capture 4K at 144 hertz for just $190. That's pretty wild, down from 230.
Unbelievable.
Man, it took it. I remember all those comments. You know, where's HDMI 2.1? HDMI 2.1. You know, I need the pass through. I need capture. I need.
And it was long in the pipeline.
Oh yeah,
it was coming.
And now we have it, and you can get it for a deal, and you can get it for $190. So that's pretty awesome.
I see you, mouse.
And then we have 4K Pro, which is our PCI internal card. That is also 20% off, and you can get that for $220. So 4K Pro is interesting because it's a PCIe card, so it goes in your PC, and that actually has support for 8K 60 pass-through or even 4K 240 pass-through. So if you're using one of those fancy new OLED monitors, then and I see chat still going on about the video, which yes, that was a fantastic video. I mean, that was totally done live, by the way. That was not a video; that was not pre-recorded. Anyways, I'm off track. So 4K Pro, it does 8K pass-through, 4K 240 pass-through. It does scale that 4K 240 down to 720p 240 because that's a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
But it essentially allows you to use a HDMI 2.1 monitor if you want to, and still use your 4K Pro in a dual PC setup. But I just want to mention the really killer deal here is HD60X. So 4KX comes with HDMI 2.1 pass-through and capture support. HD60X is the slightly older brother, which supports HDMI 2.0 with HDR pass-through, VRR pass-through, HDR capture at what, 1080p 60 and
Yes.
yeah,
I think 1440p.
1440p as well. And so HD60X is fantastic if you've been looking at getting a capture card and you're kind of not really sure. Maybe you have a Nintendo Switch and you don't need all the fancy features of HDMI 2.1.
I mean,
or
you can still pass through 4K.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah.
if you're just streaming on Twitch or something like that, and you don't necessarily care or need 4K capture, then HD60X still can capture PlayStation 5 at or can accept the signal from PlayStation 5 at 4K 60 HDR VRR and capture at 1080p 60.
Isn't the HD60X the lowest latency of all Elgato capture cards? I believe 4KX actually has it slightly beat, but I mean, we're talking milliseconds. So nothing
But
that
at the time it was.
at the time it was, yeah, but it's nothing that you would necessarily notice. But yeah, so HD60X, you can get it for 25% off. So only $140. And again, you get HDR pass through. You get you get 4K 60 HDR pass through support with VRR. It's also G-Sync compatible, which is pretty cool. So if you do use it in a PC setup, it'll actually, your NVIDIA GPU will recognize it as being G-Sync compatible, and then you get the niceties of having essentially a variable refresh rate or G-Sync enabled, so you can play without getting any screen tearing or stuttering, and use that. So HD60X is pretty cool. It adds nicely to OBS Studio. You just add a capture card and add a video capture device. Boom, it's in there.
And it's cross-platform.
Yes. Oh, that's a big
use
one.
it on
yeah.
Mac. If you have they're not really new anymore, but like Apple Silicon's been around for a while. But you have one of the non-Intel, one of the newer generation MacBook Pros, MacBooks, works great with HD60X or also 4KX, which we'll talk about. But yeah, you just add it right into OBS on Mac even. It's setup couldn't be easier.
Yep. And then the last deal we have
The
is
really older brother.
the really old brother, and we're talking like 2008 here, something like that.
Retired.
Is video capture. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this one, but we do need to increase that nice counter because you can get video capture for $69.99, which is a nice price.
It's a punchy price.
It is. So video capture is it's meant for VHS capturing. So if you have an old VHS tape, a VHS player with either S-video or composite output, you can put the tape in, play it, and then using video capture, you can capture that. So it's not really meant for your your Wii or your N64 or anything like that. This is really just meant for digitizing old tapes. And yeah, you can get it today. So this is a type of maybe like a kind of like a stocking stuff or a present for maybe your parents or your grandparents if they have old family videos or something like that.
Great for digitizing.
Yeah. Then now I will say you can give this present to them, but then the reality is going to be that you're actually the one who's then going to do the digitizing too, because they'll be like, hey, I got this for you, and then they're going to be like, cool, can you do it? I'm just saying that's the reality probably, unless you have very techie parents or grandparents.
How a lot of presents to my parents were. Like I buy my dad a new tool or something. I'd end up using it all the time. So
yeah,
it's possible.
But yeah, so video capture, 20% off if that's something that you're looking for. But again, I think of all of these, the really interesting one is HD60X. It's just kind of a workhorse. I think Vic asked earlier if it does HDR capture, and yes, HD60X does HDR capture. So you can get a 4K 60 HDR signal going through it, and then you can capture that at 1080p 60 HDR. That's if you want to like upload it to YouTube. If you're just streaming, then you don't necessarily want to deal with HDR. So it'll also do onboard HDR conversion.
Tone mapping is the term for that.
Yes. Woolly Witness says, does video capture work with OBS? It does not actually, because it's not, it doesn't have any the compatible drivers. So that's another good thing to mention is it doesn't.
Like I think there are at times I recall people kind of getting it to work, but I wouldn't say it's something we support.
Yeah.
So we can't really help you with that. But it does come with its own software specifically designed for digitizing tapes. So.
Yeah. And then Burrito asked a question: does HDR video make is the video from HD60X punchy? It can be. In fact, we've got some interesting facts. We've got a video with some. Well, no, it's not. Well, it might be a video. It might be live. Mm-hmm. But we've got some interesting facts about capture cards that this person wants to tell you about. So let's take a look at. Have you ever wondered what a capture card is? Have you ever installed a PCIe capture card into your PC? With VRR, you won't get screen tearing. Game Capture Neo is perfect for Nintendo Switch. 4K Pro supports 8K pass-through. Have you considered the difference between USB and PCIe? Did I mention Game Capture Neo? Did you know iPads support USB capture cards? HDR10 equals more vivid gameplay and capture. Did you know that HD60X captures HDR? Yeah, that was so. That's an outtake from a TV show. You know, it's been around for a while. We just cut some clips together.
It was a rerun.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, you know, maybe you learned something about capture cards. Of some pretty cool facts. Some pretty cool facts there. Yeah. So again, HD60. Phil went into dark mode. Yeah. So that, yeah,
We covered HD60X video capture 4K. Did we talk about 4KX?
We did talk about 4KX a little bit, yeah. And we talked about 4K Pro, but why don't I show you guys a little bit of the software that you get with, you know, with a 4KX or an HD60X.
4K capture utility.
4K capture utility, and also how easy it is to bring into OBS Studio. So follow me into my studio. 4K capture utility, and also how easy it is to bring into OBS Studio. Follow me into my studio. All right, so we are here on my desktop, as you do. And so the first thing is we have our 4K capture utility software here. Now, if I bring this up, it takes a second to load in the signal, and I've got my PlayStation 5. It should be on. There we go. So I've got 4KX here. You know, I've got it set up. It's got a video input of 4K60 here at the moment, actually from the PS5. And if I want to, I can just you know, immediately start gaming. The frame rate that you guys are going to see is probably a little bit lower, just because we're, you know, going over Ethernet and a bunch of other video stuff. But yeah, so you know, that's how easy it is to just get going, get recording. You can, with our software here, enable something called flashback. So essentially what this does is when you open our software, it's always recording. And so what's cool is I can simply go back in time here, and you'll see it's got the recording, but this isn't saved yet. So it's basically like a, you know, kind of like a DVR or buffer. So if I did something really cool, I can now say, oh, you know, this is the part that I want to capture. I can just click on the record button, and it'll capture those, you know, last 30, you know, 1 minute and 30 seconds, 10 minutes, something like that. And I've got that as a recording. So this is really great if you're playing games where you maybe have a lot of sessions. So for example, Call of Duty, if you're playing a lot of matches, you don't want to record every match because you know, you might not do well every match, or something cool might not happen. But in those that do, you can simply go back in time and then record that. And then that shows up in our library, and that you have a ton of control here as well. You can add titles and tags and renaming, and we have smart folders. So for example, if you want to see all the videos recorded in 4K, you can do that. If you want to see videos that are short or videos that are long, or, you know, if you've got videos that are all tagged with PS5, this makes it super easy to organize all of that. And then lastly, you can right click on any of the videos and then immediately open it in File Explorer, Default Player, or even open the project file. So if you've got Adobe Premiere installed, if you click Open Project File, it imports it and even syncs up the audio and everything for you, including if you do live commentary recordings. That's another thing you can do in our 4K capture utility software, is record, excuse me, record live commentary, record your microphone. If I actually select it here, you'll see it starts moving. There we go. And then, boy, I've been talking too much. And then you can go ahead and, you know, record your voice, record the game, and then add that all into Premiere or any other audio or video editing software. So that's our 4K capture utility software. Pretty simple, pretty easy. If you want to add HD60X or 4KX to OBS, that's also incredibly simple. Let me open this up here. And let's see. Oh, from our previous live stream, we've got a session here. Let me just remove this and remove this. So let's say you've got OBS open and you want to add your capture card. all you simply have to do is add a new source, go to video capture device, and let's give this a name here. I'll choose 4KX. Click on OK. You'll see in the drop down here, there's all of our devices. In this case, it's just 4KX. And you could actually be done now. If you simply hit OK, it's got some default settings. You just expand it to match your canvas size, and you're good to go, right? Now you've got game audio. You can start playing. You can start streaming, or even recording in OBS if you want to. Really, really simple. If you want to record, if you want to change the settings, you also can do that. For example, if you want to make sure you really are getting 4K video in, right, you can actually select that here. You do want to match what's coming out of your console. So let's say you have, well, in this case, the PS5 is only outputting 4K 60, but if you were outputting 4K 120, then you could also select that here. Some of these other settings I don't recommend messing with, like color space and color range. You can, if you know what you're doing, then you can just, select these. If you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't touch them because they can not necessarily improve, more like ruin the video quality if you select the wrong thing there. But yeah, that's how simple it is to get going with capturing from a PlayStation 5 with 4KX or HD60X or even 4K Pro. I do want to mention one thing, and for this I'm actually going to go into the PlayStation settings. Something that we well, it's enabled by default on PS5, and it also can happen on Xbox and Switch, is something called HDCP. So when you get your PlayStation 5 for the first time and you plug it in to a capture card, you'll want to head over, and this is actually before even using the capture card. So connect your PlayStation 5 directly to your TV or monitor, head into the system settings, and then go to HDMI and make sure you disable HDCP. Essentially, this is a encryption for the HDMI signal, and this will block a capture card. You need to disable this for the capture card to work. Don't worry, you can, of course, still play your games and everything. But what'll happen is if you open an app like Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu, then those won't work until you re-enable HDCP. The point of this being they don't want you to, commit piracy, yar-har, and record the video output, movies or TV shows. So while HDCP is off, those apps won't run. Of course, you can enable HDCP again temporarily, but to actually capture, make sure you turn off HDCP. On Xbox and Switch, it's always off. You don't need to manually turn it off, but once you play, open Netflix or open Hulu, something like that, it'll turn on. In the case of Xbox, you might actually need to restart the console for HDCP to then disable again. And on Switch, I'm not 100% sure. It might be automatic. It might also be via via restarting the console. So just keep this in mind. If you get a capture card, you have a PS5, you plug it in for the first time, you're wondering, hey, why is my screen black or why is nothing coming up? Then you do need to make sure that you disable HDCP. Now let me take a quick look at any questions that you guys might have here. Move over to the voice or to the chat again. Coconut Justice might have to pull the trigger. Awesome. Oh wait, that might be a little old. Okay, so yeah. Oh, look at that.
From our associate.
From the team wants to make sure. Maybe I gotta let Brett do more chatting.
Yeah, possibly.
So now let's get on to the last two, and these kind of fit well together. Do you want to cover lighting and green screen deals?
Sure. So we have two key lights over on our demo setup over there. Can I move over there, or we can just talk about it?
We can just talk about it first. Yeah. We have, key light is incredible. 130. Do you remember the launch price for key light?
Was it under 200?
It was 200 exactly.
199.
And now it's 160 normally, and with the deal, it's 129. So that's wild.
And also, it's not just the light; it comes with a master mount.
Yep.
It comes with all of its own mounting accessories needed. Comes with also cable clips to keep things tidy. Yeah. Why? And also, that's the Mark II.
It is the Keylight Mark II in most cases. So, just as a quick note in there, we did have a second version of the Keylight called Keylight Mark II. It adds just very minor changes, one of them being it supports 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. In terms of the actual performance of the light, like the lighting output or what you get with it, it's all the same. The only difference that you can tell on the packaging is the original one comes with blue packaging. And the Keylight Mark II comes in just cardboard, it doesn't have a full print on it. because we're trying to preserve,
Saves
do
way more
something,
water
yeah,
doing it that way.
do something for the environment there, and have more eco-friendly packaging. But yeah, you can get key light for $130. That's wild.
$130. So key light is 2,800 lumens, which is pretty bright. I mean, these are probably like 15% or something like
Yeah.
that. Most of the time when I'm using both my key lights, they're on like 10%. They're plenty bright for loads and loads of environments. Yeah, at 100% brightness, that's where you're bouncing it off the wall or bouncing it off the ceiling for a really soft look. Yeah, you can control it from your Stream Deck, control it from your PC or Mac, control it from your phone, because you can have the Control Center app on your Android or iOS device. And it's controlled over the network. Really, really handy. And then when you have it controlled through Stream Deck, turn them on and off, change the color temperature, brightness.
Yeah. In fact, I believe we're getting another weather report. It's supposed to be bright and sunny with all these deals going on. Get your glasses out, folks, because it's getting bright in here. So, or the future of these deals looks very bright. Let's take a look.
Good news, folks. The sun's not the only thing shining this Black Friday, as these lighting deals are blazingly bright with up to 40% off Key Light Mark II in some regions. I'm gonna need these for this one. Imagine a beautiful, clear day with studio quality Key Light Mark II on sale right now. Bring all the warmth and light from outside, inside, right at your workstation. With Elgato lighting products, you'll have the sun at your command, controlling brightness and color temperature to ensure you're always in the perfect light. But you won't want to miss this deal, because these key lights will brighten your life faster than a beautiful morning sunrise. All week long, Black Friday deals.
All right. So
Thanks for that, Chris. Another incredible deal scanner report there. Let's talk a little bit more about key lights.
All right, then I will try to do it this time and move over to the demo.
So the nice thing about key lights is they're incredibly simple to set up, and Brett's gonna tell you a little bit more about it.
Then I will try to do it this time and move to the demo.
So the nice thing about key lights is
Okay, so for controlling your key lights through your computer, we use a piece of software. We have a piece of software called Control Center. And when you run it, it's a little tiny icon on the system tray. And so you can see both lights here available both for brightness control and color temperature. And right now we have it pretty cool around 5300 Kelvin. And you can also turn on and off the lights here. There's the brightness control. Now, if you want to, you can also tie these together, so you don't have to control them individually, but you can, if you want one to be warm, one to be cool, that's perfectly fine. And the setup process is pretty simple. You plug them in, turn them on, and then if you are on a Wi-Fi enabled computer, they pop up as an accessory when you go to the plug button here. Do we have any other lights to control?
in here. I actually hid them on purpose. That way we only show those.
Okay. Well, let's see. I guess I could set them up on Stream Deck as well. So I'll make a new page here in Stream Deck. And we'll go to the... This is a fancy keyboard. Control Center, here we go. On, off. Make a key for that. We'll do dials for controlling brightness, temperature. So here I'm going to select, I can select all of them or just the left one. I'll push the key, left one turns off. And it's picture, oh yeah, it's picture in picture, so we can see that. Copy this key, and I'll be able to show both together, both lights off. And you can also do them together as well. So I'll select all here. They both turn off together. You can have one key control. It doesn't have to be two lights. It could be 3, 4, 5. You know, if you're really taking advantage of this deal for Cyber Monday, maybe you have more than two. And then also for if you're on Stream Deck Plus, you have dials, of course, and so you can control the
Ooh, we're getting
brightness
fancy with the camera here. Let's see.
on a pretty
now we can actually
granular
see the
level.
lights, so if you make changes now,
And also do color as well. The left light, very warm. I mean, I guess.
yeah, with Keylight, you have a couple
Oh,
different
wow.
control options. You have just the control center software on your computer. If you have a Stream Deck, then it works great with a Stream Deck key, or if you have Stream Deck Plus, the Stream Deck
Both of them
dials.
there.
If you have your phone, you can use the control center app right on your phone. So there's lots of different ways to control it, all of which don't require you to actually touch or, touch your light or have to, manually adjust anything, which is kind of the main reason that we initially made these lights. It's easy enough. It can be annoying enough if you have to adjust lighting while you're live, or you need to, dial in some settings, and you have to reach over and then, okay, am I looking good now? And then reach over again and make. You can just do it from the comfort of your desk. It's incredibly simple, and again, it works really nicely with Stream Deck. In fact, I believe we might have a community video from one of you guys, which talks a little bit about lights and Stream Deck. So let's take a look at that.
Hold on. There we go. What's going on, family? I'm that guy B Green. And when I'm not being a professional voice actor,
Escape! The Black Dragon bowed to my power in his previous incarnation. What are you?
or videographer who also likes to create content, you can catch me variety streaming with a bevy of Elgato products. By this point, everyone knows about the greatness that is the Stream Deck. And I should know, because I got two of them things. So I'm here to shine a little light on an Elgato item that I simply can't live without. And that's my key light. Oh, you think I'm joking? Hold on. Look at that. Look at that. My bad. Listen, it doesn't matter what it is you do. You can't be seen if you can't be seen. See what I mean? If you're on the fence about upping your light game with Elgato, don't be. Go get you one. Peace.
Welcome back. That was That Guy Be Green, I believe. Thanks for that. So my co-host Phil is taking a very short break. But yeah, so we key light and lighting. Let's see. Get deals over on his screen. But yeah, key light 129, 19% off, 129.99. And that's available, or that discount's available until 11:59.99. Yeah, he turned into John Cena. Absolutely. He's still here. And yeah, it's one of the things where it's great with Stream Deck because you can control it. You can keep the key light necessarily. Doesn't have to be on your desk, especially since it has master mount included with it. Mounted off to corners of your desk. You don't have to touch it directly. I honestly use it a lot with my phone, just because I use it for lighting for my rooms. To be completely honest with you, so I'll turn on the lights for my phone, turn it off again. One of my favorite smart lights in that way. I guess I could actually. Someone asked about setting a preset, so I can actually go back over to the demo room. Actually, someone asked about setting a preset, so I can actually go back over to the demo room. Just realized I turned off my mic as I was before I moved away. So someone asked about presets, I think. And so with Stream Deck with keys, I just showed turning them on and off, but let's see, I can do set brightness right here. And so here you can set a specific temperature. And as I change it, you can see that the light is changing and give me kind of like a preview of what the light will be. Then if I go back to Control Center, I'll just set the light to really bright or something. I push this key, it now goes down to 30% how I set it. So if you have particular streaming arrangement that you like, or yeah, let's say you're doing a more moody stream and you want the light set it to 10% or something like that. you can have Stream Deck preset it to 10%, do your stream, then maybe when you're working again, you can set them up again without having to mess with a slider every time. So Stream Deck, you have certainly more options than you might imagine. And of course, you do also have set temperature. It doesn't have to be just set brightness. And there's a couple more options
here. Got a comment here about
that
Elgato,
are
please
for
add Matter,
other
Google
products
Nest,
that
Apple
don't
HomeKit
apply to
compatibility, and that's certainly
key light,
something
but
that
definitely
we are looking into.
set
We can't
temperature, set
guarantee that
brightness,
it will happen. It would
toggling
obviously be
power on and
very
off,
nice.
and then
there
you know,
are
controlling
ways
them
that
with
you can already do
dials.
it
Chris, I'm back over.
that are unofficial, but yeah, there's no official integration at the moment with HomeKit or Google Nest or Matter at the moment. I also see a message from K-Raid. I think my OG Stream Deck is on its last legs. I will, if that is the case, reach out to our support team. But it's pretty tough to, I don't want to say kill, but Stream Deck is pretty tough. So
yeah,
I'd be curious to know what's going on there. But yeah, definitely, this goes for everyone. If you get one of our products today from, for one of these Cyber Monday deals, we have absolutely world-class support. I mean, it's been rated some of the highest out there. You can talk with real people. We have phone, we have email, and you can get in touch with people, and we're super helpful. They'll get you helped out in no time. We also have an incredibly supportive community, so be that on Discord, be that on Reddit. We do live streams like this where we talk about stuff. I mean, we're really trying to be everywhere that you guys are, and so yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, we have support in a lot of different places.
Yep.
Phone, email, Discord.
Yeah.
Although in that case, it's more of the community side of things. But yeah, Reddit's a great place as well. Some really fantastic community members in there. And invest the time to. I mean, some of the posts in there, some of the replies to, some of the questions from the community are huge.
Yeah. Did we have another community clip or community video? I want to say it was a hero key. Oh, that was already played. Got it. Okay. That was the one I might have actually missed it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we talked about Key Light, and I think there's another deal so Key Light is 20% off right now. You can get it. That's 20%. It's $130.
$129.99.
Insane. Again, coming down from it used to be $200 just base price, and we've been able to bring that price down. And with this deal, it's even lower, which is incredible. But then you have something which is even more mind-blowing.
Am I reading that right?
You are.
Am I reading that right? $79.99.
So check this out. You can get ring light, $79.99. $80 for Elgato ring light. It is. I mean that's awesome. It comes. It's big, right? It gets you plenty of lighting. It gets bright too. And it comes with the what do you call it? The quarter, like the ball mount.
Yes.
Yep.
Ball mount for putting a camera in the middle of the ring light.
It's also Wi-Fi connected. It also comes with the master mount, as in it clamps to your desk. It's also Wi-Fi controllable, or Stream Deck controllable, or phone controllable,
or onboard.
And it even has onboard controls. I mean, it literally has everything. And you can get it for 35% off right now. Normally it's $99. You can now get it for $79. Absolutely incredible. And I wonder even, oh no, we don't have a bundle on that one currently. But yeah, that is just insane. So both of the lights, the Key Light Mark II and the ring light, are incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two good questions here.
Yeah. Well, I can do the first one.
Yeah.
So ring light is just based on the way that it's shaped. It's probably more of an aesthetic decision. So of course, if you want just a larger light surface, then ring light gets you that with one light.
Mm-hmm.
If you have two key lights, which is how I think most people would probably want to use them, you're going to get just certainly way more lumens, way more light, and you can also spread them out. But ring light, though, it's an aesthetic. It's an aesthetic thing. Like you get the reflection in the eye. It's the ring. People really like that. So if that's something you're looking for, ring light. I mean, it's a ring light.
Yeah.
It's what it's. Nothing else can really replicate that because it's the shape of the light. And the fact is, the camera is in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So you're getting you're not having light on the sides or above and below, but it's a perfect circle of light around the camera.
And that mount is really convenient in the middle, right? You don't need
Yeah.
another mount. You essentially, with the key light, you actually need, you need the key light, which is mounted, then you need another camera mount. With the ring light, you have one mount, which is the light, and then you can put the camera in the middle as well.
Is it large enough for the teleprompter?
I think it is.
Maybe technically, but
It kind of depends on your setup, right? I think if you just put the prompter, because the prompter also gets wider, it's smaller at the back where the camera's mounted, and then it's wider at the front, so you can kind of offset it. I haven't actually seen it used with a prompter in person.
I would probably say that's not really recommended, mostly because the thing with prompters, you need to be careful about how light hits the prompter.
Yeah.
And with ring light, it's coming from every angle, sort of by design of the ring light. And so, yeah, it might fit. I just don't remember if that's been tested.
It does fit.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're hearing it does fit.
It's kind of my worry. Is probably not, wouldn't suggest it.
There's also a weight factor to consider. So for that little ball mount, can it support a camera plus a prompter, on that weight is another thing. So I don't know. Would I 100% recommend it? Well, actually, hold on. We have a word from on high. I have seen prompter working in ring light in a few setups. Okay. So yeah, it sounds like it works. Just, be somewhat conscious of if you're using like a big DSLR with the prompter, the ball mount might not be able to hold that. If you're just using like a Facecam Pro and prompter, that's probably fine. Just be conscious of the weight would be the only thing.
All right. Well, it came from up top. So,
and then we also, I think there was a second question. Why would I want ring light over key light?
Yeah,
or vice versa. I mean, I guess what's generally the difference between the two?
I mean, if you want to go into that, that's the one I answered before.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's kind of like if you want that specific type of reflection in the eye, as well as being that the camera's in the middle, you get a very unique lighting pattern.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to replicate unless you have just multiple lights in a ring. Like it's very unique.
It also depends a little bit on your setup. So for example, if you're using a green screen, you really want to make sure you have no shadows and very even lighting. If you have a single ring light in the middle, you are going to have some shadows coming behind you from, say, your chair. Whereas if you have two key lights, which you evenly space apart, then they're both pointed at you.
Yes.
You're going to cancel out any shadows and, better lighting. So I think if you're using a green screen, you might want to look at two key lights or, two key light air, something like that. But in this case, and in fact, well, I should say, speaking of two lights, hang on. I just remembered that we have an incredible deal. That's what we're here to talk about, by the way. You can save up to 29% on a key light duo bundle right now. So check this out. You can get two key lights. Normally, that's $350 for $249.99. So that's actually, and looking at this pricing here, so we have this key light deal, right? The single one, up to 20% off. That's $129. So you multiply that by 2, that's what, $260, just about?
Mm-hmm.
So you actually save $10 just by getting the bundle, which is just 2. Not only do you get 2, you also get a light remote with that. That's something that we didn't cover. It's another small thing with the Keylight Mark II. It's a little Bluetooth remote. So you could just, you pair it up to your lights. You can control up to 3 lights with it. And you can change the color temperature. You can change the brightness. You can save little presets to it. It's just like a little Bluetooth remote.
Yeah.
You get that. Normally, that's also $20. So, you're getting the value of like 200 and, well, normally it's what? It was 160. So 160, 320, 340. So you're almost saving $100 by buying this bundle compared to just getting it like regularly if it were not on sale.
29% off.
Yeah. So again, if you're just joining us now, go to elgato.com, select your region, and you'll see all the deals that we have live there. In fact, I think that it's in the chat right now, the link. Go there. And
Difficult to read out.
yeah. Try reading that 5 times fast.
Lega.2.
.2s Cyber Monday 2024. Yeah, Cyber Monday. But yeah, so just go to elgato.com or click that link. It's on the homepage right now. Just scroll down, select the region that you're in. You'll see all the deals, and you'll also see when they go live. I think at this point they all are. You'll see when they end, which I believe most of them end, at least in the US, they all end at 12 p.m. Pacific. Sorry, 12 a.m. Pacific. And yeah, so 11:59. tonight.
It just-
Yeah. Oh, it just
It's now
yeah.
12 p.m.
It
Pacific.
is now 12 p.m. So no, I misspoke there. So yeah, they end tonight.
12 hours left.
Yep, you have 12 hours left. In fact, I believe it's also on the website. And check out all these incredible deals. You know, we've covered Stream Deck, we've covered microphones, and we're going to talk about all this stuff even more. I mean, we're live the entire day. We have another like 4 or 5 hours of the stream. We're going to have more people on. Maybe we'll even get to see Brito. Not sure. I think Jasmine's coming in. We'll have Sean coming on. So, you know, if you have any more questions, please put them in the chat. But yeah, again, Keylight by itself, 20% off at the moment. If you get a bundle for, you know, for two, it's 29% off, which is incredible. And so I talked about green screen, and you know, 2 Keylights working perfectly with green screen. We also have green screen bundles. Now, did we have a deal scanner report on green screen? I think we might actually.
It's coming in over the satellite.
No, it's
No?
not. Oh no, you know what? There's too much
cloud
going
cover.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
cloud cover, bad signal. It's not happening right now.
Satellite's not in range.
But hey, that just means maybe Britt, you want to talk about these 2 deals that we have going on.
Let's see. Well, I'm here.
Yeah, we have them. We can absolutely demo them too.
What? So, director, should I be over at the demo desk for this, or set him up right behind us? Right here? All right.
So it might be a little bit hard to hear Brett when he's away from the mic, so I'll do the talking. So we have 2 green screens, and both of them are on sale. The first one is going to be our regular green screen. This is the one that you all know and love. It's been around for quite a while. You can get it for 15% off right now. And check out how easy it is to set up. It's literally just pull it up and leave it. It's got hydraulic, like a hydraulic X-frame mechanism. So you literally just flip it open, pull it up, and you're good to go. Now we have a green screen behind us. Normally it's 160. You can now get it for 139.99. So that's 15% off. It's literally the easiest way that you can add a green screen.
You pull it up, put it down, close the lid.
Yeah.
Put it under a bed or under.
And look at that. It turned from, oh, wow. Look at that. Okay.
We're being watched.
Our boss is watching us now. So yeah, you can have some real fun with it. And it's incredibly easy to set up, to put away. It's incredibly small too. Now I'm nervous.
Can you move his head up and down?
You know, if you're in a room. So way back in the day, I have a little story. Way back in the day, before I even worked at Elgato, in like 2012, I built my own retractable green screen. I went to Joann's Fabrics. I got a big green cloth, and I got like a pulley mechanism and hung it up on my ceiling. And then I had a little rope, and I could also do the like pull down and let go thing.
Yeah, DIY MT.
I think I still have some pictures. I don't know if I can get them to the stream in time, but it was a pain to set up. And you know, a couple years later, we're like at Elgato, we're like, hey, we should probably just make a green screen that's incredibly easy to set up, and you know, you don't have to permanently mount to your wall or to your ceiling, stuff like that. And so, hey, now we have this green screen.
Yeah, instead of painting your wall green or like taping something to the wall or nailing like green paper to the wall, just move it into position, lift it up like I just showed there, and do your stream.
Not only that, but it's small enough to where once you're done and you put it down, you can, like, let's say you have it in your living room or something like that, you can actually just hide it under your couch or put it under your bed, or lean it. In my case, I currently just lean it up against the wall. I just hide it in the corner, and then it's out of sight, out of mind. And then when I want a green screen, I just pull it up and.
And in the case of the regular green screen, it has this nice like aluminum case with latches on it, so it's pretty well protected.
And so again, the deal on that is currently 15% off. So you can get it for $140 or $139.99 at the moment, down from $159 at Elgato.com. Let me just check if it's still available on Amazon for that price. It looks like the deal is over on Amazon, so you still want to check it out at Elgato.com. At Elgato. And now we did hear some feedback when we launched this thing that a little, it could be a little bit wider. In fact, even here, it's like, okay, for 2 people, not wide enough. So we thought long and hard about how to solve that problem, and we eventually came out with the Green Screen XL. And so behind me, you're going to hear and see Brett set up the Green Screen XL. It's very similar in kind of how it works. The setup is just slightly different because it's much wider. So we still have to make sure that it's easy to put up, but that it's also, you know, still small. And so you get this little pole that you simply put up, and then you can extend up, and that pole then holds the top of the green screen. That little handle, it just latches right in, and there you go. And so this green screen is a good, now it's further back, so it's further away from the camera, but it's a good actually don't know, it's like what, 15-20% wider, which is, you know, when you talk about a surface that's that big, it's actually quite a bit. And so this is easy, you know, this is big enough for, even if we were, you know, yeah, if we, well, see if we can do it without having it fall over, or, oh, that works too. Let's see. Cool. And no live stream fails here today. At least not yet. Knock on wood, right? And then he's going to pull it up again. So you can see it's a lot wider when it's at that same distance. And it's almost wide enough to, you know, at this point cover, if I actually sit properly, to cover both of us. And of course, if you're just at home by yourself, this easily is wide enough for you to, you know, you can stand in front of it. In fact, even I believe, well, these non-videos that Christian put together were made with the Green Screen XL. So, you know, you can use these for live streams, you can use them in video production. The one thing to make sure of, though, is that you have great lighting.
Yes. Even lighting.
Even lighting.
You don't necessarily need really bright lights. You just need even lighting so that you can have the cleanest key possible.
And so what's cool is, with this one, you can save up to 20% right now. So Green Screen XL is normally available for $169. Nice. Now you can get it for $139. So you can get that for 20% off. And yeah, that deal ends also, you know, tonight Pacific time at midnight.
$139.
So $139 for this green screen. I mean, it's kind of cool. You could consider, I mean, it's still an investment, no doubt. But if you get those two key lights, the key light duo bundle and the Green Screen XL, boom. I mean, you pretty much never need to get new lights or a new green screen. I think at that point, that's like end game level of setup.
And the Green Screen XL, believe it or not,
what is going on here? Our production team is they're having a little bit too much fun. We gave them too much power.
We're using Elgato, Jasmine.
She's not. So yeah, that's all the cool stuff that you can do with green screen, and it's also incredibly easy to set up in something like OBS. It's just a matter of, you know, you have your camera source, you just hit add filter, and then you add a chroma key, and that's that.
And then you just pick the color.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the cool things is the color's like optimized, so it looks almost neon. In fact, even on camera here, it looks almost,
yeah.
So
the material, like, just, I don't know, like you can get shadows on it, but it seems to do a really good job.
Hang on, I've got the word, punchy. Oh, it's a punchy green. But yeah, so that is
Hit the counter.
hit the counter.
Punch the counter. I was going to say, though, that Green Screen XL, even being larger, it compacts even smaller.
Yep.
It's like maybe that big around.
It's a little bit longer, obviously, because, you know, where you
yeah,
gotta keep the
because
cloth,
it's
but-
one long roll.
Yeah.
Is essentially how that works.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's green screen. So you can get green screen, the regular one, for 15% off, or you can get Green Screen XL for 20% off. Both of those are incredible. Again, you want good lighting though. So a key light, two key lights, a single ring light probably wouldn't do that great of a job, just because again, you're kind of have it directly in front of you, so you actually block part of the light. And what you need is you to be well lit and the screen itself.
You really want the two key lights, or it could be two key light pairs, but two key lights, because they're going to sort of cancel out the shadows of the other, because they're to the side of you, they're kind of shining behind you, essentially. Two key lights really is the optimal setup for having a really good clean key.
So now I have a question for chat. Have you been considering or thinking about a green screen? And if so, you know, what would you use it for? Just adding it, you know, like putting, well, actually there was one really good trick that you could use it for. Let me let you on a little secret. What you do, and Steggy on our team has perfected this. What you do is you take a picture, you clean your room, right? You clean your room, you take a picture of that room from your camera position, you know, you just screenshot it in OBS, but you're out of the shot. Then you green screen, and then you put that picture behind you. And so suddenly you have the cleanest room ever, or the cleanest background ever, but it's just a green screen, and nobody knows. Nobody can tell, especially if you put yourself, in the bottom right or left corner, or if you are on a call or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have an absolutely trashed space behind you, but the green screen covers it up. Do we have a video tutorial on how to do that?
I feel like a partner has done a video like that, showing like what the room is actually like.
Yeah.
And then she lowers the green screen.
So that's a really nice use case there. Is to
Maybe a looping video. Yeah, actually.
Or Mrs. May. Yes, I think she was the one who did that.
Video would be great, just because you get like the because there's a pattern in the video as it's moving.
So Steggy actually did that as well. In fact, he did that for here. And so again, for meetings or stay in school, but if you're not paying attention in class, you could set up a little loop of yourself just nodding and then kind of agreeing and then maybe looking away and going back or something like that. Just do that, record that 10-second loop. Just make sure there's a really clean cut between when it starts and ends. And then if you need to walk away, you just get in that position, tap the key, and then you can walk away, and it's almost like you're still there. It's
there you go.
Yeah. Oh, Julian actually. Oh, okay. We've got the link there. So if you want to check out the video on how to set this up,
Lovely.
that is. Oh, look at that. We're now in that blue sky.
Not yet.
Not yet. Then yeah, you can do that. So there's some fun ways that you can use green screen, or we have another creator that we work closely with. Annie, I always say it wrong. Is it fuchsia, something like that? Fuchsia. Yeah. What she does is she green screens her background, and then she has a webcam border, but she actually makes it so that she goes out over the top of the webcam border, so it gives it a subtle 3D effect. So it's almost like she's breaking through the frame.
Oh, yes, right.
And so you can do some really fun stuff like that, where you just it adds that little bit of extra. Could be immersion, could be depth, could be something fun like having that literally virtual background. So yeah, green screen is great for that. And again, those are both on sale for right now. You have 15% for the regular green screen, so 139, and then for green screen XL. Wait, hold on.
They're both the same price?
Both the same price. Wait, so you can hold on. Does that mean you can just get the bigger one for the same price? Might as well just get the. I'm just saying.
They're both portable. They both collapse down into an easy to store way.
I don't know if
one's
I'm supposed
bigger
to be saying that, but just bigger one. I mean, there's the same price. Why not? And wow, look at that. Our background is still blue. Yeah. Look at all of these incredible deals. They're everywhere. But I think I had asked earlier some questions about green screens. Let's see. One critique of green screen, that the tiny rubber pieces that go on the rotatable feet fall out too easy. Doesn't affect the utility though, just that I just find the black rubber pieces. Interesting. You might be able to take some, maybe, if I'm reading this right, a little bit of glue and just glue them back on, or even some tape or something.
Yeah, because for that, I mean, like they said, it doesn't affect the utility.
Yeah.
The feet themselves are what keeps it upright. But there's some double-sided tape, some foam tape or something like that.
Yep. Let's see. It's also light. Oh yeah, the XL is lighter than the original green screen because it doesn't have the same pretty big aluminum housing. I mean, we basically built this thing to,
it's a tank.
Yeah.
The original one.
Yeah. I think we went a little bit overboard, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. That covers green screen. Let's go back down here to the bottom of chat. You might be able to hear that.
I guess we can keep this up a little bit. A nice a flair to things.
That's one expensive green screen. So that's that's a comment that we've heard and obviously read for quite a while since we've had the first one. And it really just comes down to kind of the convenience and how important it is for you and your workflow. If you're good with painting your wall green and making that a more permanent thing, or if you just want some cloth that you, I don't know, take some pins and you just pin it into the wall and kind of leave it there, that is totally up to you. Or, that's totally your thing. But if you want something that you can put away really quick and easily, if you want something that has a little bit of an optimized color so that it, is easier to chroma key, if you want something that's just going to stay clean the whole time, stuff like that, then, take a look at green screen. It's the workflow improvements shouldn't be like understated. Even here for us in the studio, our studio, what we're using here is also the same studio that we use for recording all of our videos. And a cool thing about Elgato is that the products that we make, we actually use.
Yes.
I mean, we're using the green screen, we're using the mic arm, right? So we use the same green screen when we record our videos, and it's the same thing. It's like, oh, we got to pull up green screen. Okay, just pull it up, set it up, boom, you're done in 2 minutes. We don't have to go to a wall and hang up some cloth and then cover this side and that side and do all this stuff.
And if you're someone who is just starting out being a content creator or something, one of the biggest things, depending on who you are, is all those little obstacles that prevent you from creating content. But instead of I have to put up the green screen on the wall, I have to paint it or pin it up, as you were saying. If you can just slide this thing out from under your couch or under your bed, put it up, and then right away you're able to you remove that barrier and you're getting right into recording whatever you need to do. That's the big thing. It's just so convenient to have this pull up green screen.
And then highly dodgy, that's pretty dodgy, as it cleans itself, and it doesn't clean itself, but it's just once you are done with it, you can roll it up, put it away. You don't have to worry about someone spilling on it, or if you have a dog or a cat, your cats might actually try to scratch on it because they think it's fun, something like that. Then you don't have to worry about it because you just roll it up and put it away. Unlike, again, a green screen that you might hang up on a wall or something like that, then your cat pulls it down, or your dog chews on it, or the kids throw dirt at it, whatever it might be, right? It's just so many different things. So green screen is a great deal. And again, chroma keying it is also super simple. You can do it right in OBS. And there's also, in all fairness, there's also virtual green screen options out there these days.
Yeah.
That is,
Zoom, Teams.
They all have that. However, sometimes half your arm just disappears, or if you're wearing headphones, you get this like weird, flickering in them.
They can only be so good when they're essentially guessing at where you are.
Yeah.
But with a green screen, very clearly, I'm able to stencil out.
And I don't want to knock that stuff. It's really cool tech. Absolutely. And if that's what you want to use, please, by all means do. But it's like, if you want to take that step up, then a green screen is going to guarantee you that great quality alongside, making sure that you stay complete while you chroma key yourself. Unless you wear a green shirt, then you might actually remove yourself.
Which is sometimes the actual goal of something.
Yes.
They wear a whole green outfit, but then like just their head is exposed.
Yeah. So, okay, I think we've now gone through all of...
Someone has a great point. Sometimes those background removals can use up resources on your computer. So if you have just a green screen, run a chroma key in OBS, and that's going to be, in some cases, far more lightweight.
Yeah. So I think we've now covered all of the deals. So as a reminder, folks, all the deals are available at elgato.com. Just go to elgato.com. It should be right on the front page there. And you will just simply, select what region you're in. And I'm trying to ignore everything that's happening around me. You just select the region that you're in, and then you'll see all the deals. We do also have a countdown that shows you. It should show you in your local time when the deals end. At least here in the U.S., they do end at 11:59 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah,
so that is tonight. So you still do have a couple hours.
11 hours, 40 minutes.
Yes. In fact, yeah, something like that.
Close enough.
So I think at this point, since we've gone over all the deals, is there anything we should talk about in depth? As in, do you guys have any questions? More in depth, yes. Or perhaps maybe we have a community video or two that we want to look at, because just want to say shout out to our community team and you in our community. Those of you, there's a couple of you who made some videos that we have here for the stream, and they look absolutely incredible. The creativity, everything is great. So maybe we want to throw one of those on there and talk a little bit about Stream Deck. Let's see.
We're getting some transmissions.
While we, let's get one more question in, and then we'll do that. So Newbie Gonzo says, is there a link to the green screen XL? I'm only seeing the regular green screen on sale. So that might be region dependent. And that's one thing, I should mention, is that all of these deals depend on the region that you're in, and if the deal is still available. Some of them had limited time, so they were only available like on Black Friday itself. or only last week. Other deals are live now, and in some regions, unfortunately, just didn't get certain deals. So I don't know what region you're in, and that could explain it. But okay, so it looks like we have from Marek PF a little video to talk about Stream Deck Plus. Take a look at that.
Hello, my name is Marek and I'm a League of Legends content creator for Mid Esports. My favorite product is the Stream Deck Plus because of its versatility. Not only does it control my audio XLR interface, it also stores my most frequently visited websites like Lolalytics, where I can quickly find up-to-date statistics about my champions. Below that, I also favorited several of my matchup sheets, so I can quickly access those as well. Because you know, in the draft you gotta be quick, you gotta quickly know what runes you're taking, you gotta know what counters you're playing, and already start making a game plan. And I can quickly manage this because of the Stream Deck Plus. I hope this helped. Thanks!
Very cool video. Very nice. Oh, and it looks like Marek TF is actually in stream as well.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for that video. That was really, really cool. Oh boy, here come the rug comments. But we have another one, this time from, I believe it's Cosmic Quartz. Let's take a look at what she's got to say.
I'm Cosmic Quartz, or Quartzy for short, and I'm an artist, streamer, and cosplayer on Twitch. It may look like I'm a professional, but there's a very good reason for that. Let me tell you about some of the ways Elgato products make my life as an autistic and ADHD streamer easier. ADHD or not, I have a hard enough time trying to remember everything I need to do before I go live. With Elgato's Stream Deck, I've been able to set up various redeems like 30-second drawings with just a click of a single button. Having all of my stream commands, sources, scenes, and redeems pre-programmed makes streaming a breeze. I no longer have to scroll aimlessly through my messy OBS sources. I literally just click one button to go live. Even cooler, as an artist, I get to upload my very own emotes right into my Stream Deck. If that's not making it, I don't know what is. But hey, don't take my word for it. Watch this very real, organic, and unedited clip when I received mine. Aw, Clancy, thank you so much for the gift. Aww. Wow, the brand new Game Boy Color. Now I can catch all 150 Pokemon.
I think you mean 151 Pokemon. That's not a Game Boy.
That's not what this is?
Silly human.
I'm confused.
That's the iconic Elgato Stream Deck in Atomic Purple. It's basically a pocket assistant.
Well, I thought you were some treats. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to repay you for this?
I might have an idea.
But that's not the only Elgato product that I'm here to gush about today. With Elgato's capture card, I've been able to stream special interest games like Pokemon and Hades with no problem.
No! I knew that was coming. Wait. I did not have a Death Defy.
You play Hades on Switch?
Yeah.
It's literally on PC.
What's so wrong with playing Hades on Switch? What? I can't mouse and keyboard. My brain's too joystick coded. I definitely didn't have the best PC when I first started streaming, and I still don't, but with various Elgato products, I've been able to elevate my streams and even join several stream teams this year as a result. So what are you waiting for? By making Elgato a key part of your streaming setup today, you can make going live tomorrow a whole lot easier. Besides, Elgato said so.
Are we back?
Yeah,
I think we're
looks
back.
like it.
Cosmic Quartz.
Yep. Thank you, Cosmic Quartz.
Thank you for that. That was just incredible. The amount of and it just. I always think, like, when I see a video like that, I'm like, oh, hey, I could do this, but then there's just so much. There's so many little things that, you know, just put it all together. So it's, yeah, really, really nice. Thank you for that. And also very cute cats. But okay, so speaking of Stream Deck, since we're on that topic and Wavelink, why don't we take a look at Wavelink? I want to cover Wavelink first, and then we'll talk a little bit about Stream Deck. In the meantime, I mean, chat, feel free to keep asking questions. Brett's going to be here. I'm going to be here, and you know, we'll answer those as we kind of go along. But for now, let's take a look at Wavelink. Why don't you follow me into the studio? I want to cover Wavelink first, and we'll talk a little bit about Stream. In the meantime, I mean,
chat, feel free to keep asking questions. Brett's going to be here. I'm going to be here, and we'll answer those as we kind of go along. But for now, let's take a look at Wavelength. Why don't you follow me into the studio?
All right, welcome into the studio here. So we were talking earlier on the stream about Wavelength, and I want to just show you just how powerful Wavelength is and what it can do. And a little tidbit is that this is actually Wavelength 2.0. It's not publicly out yet, but it is available in a public beta. So if you want to check out all the same stuff that I am currently doing, then you can do that right now for Mac and PC. It is already out. But yeah, so let's take a look here. And actually, I see a question here from Compagoon. Is there any plans for Wavelength to work without a Elgato mic or device? And at the moment, there isn't, but we've been working on expanding our options to give you Wavelength. So for example, a Stream Deck Plus gives you Wavelength, which means that you can simply plug in a Stream Deck Plus and then use your entire own microphone or whatever you want. It could be earbuds, it could be a mic, it could be whatever. You just need the Stream Deck Plus. That's a really great option there to give you Wavelength, or you get a Wave 3 or a Wave 1 or a Wave Neo or a Wave XLR. Those all also give you Wave 3. So there's a bunch of options out there for if you already have a mic or if you just want something in combination with Stream Deck. But okay, so what is Wavelength? So we have Wavelength up here, and at its core, Wavelength is kind of two things. It's a audio mixer and it's an audio processing software. And so what do I mean by that? Well, it does two things. So the first is it mixes your audio, and you basically get a virtual mixer that takes in all of your different audio sources. So you might have something like the mic here that you can see feeding in. You might have music, sound effects from something like Stream Deck, or a game here. In fact, I could route Stream Deck over to sound effects. A browser, voice chat, and even more. Even something like a capture card right here. You can also just add that. So for example, if I go in here, I could add 4KX and boom, there's sound right there. So all of this stuff can be brought into Wavelength. And then from here, this now becomes your central audio hub. So at this point, you might say, okay, well, I don't want to hear myself because I'm like that. I don't like hearing my own voice. So I'm going to turn off mic monitoring. And also, maybe I'm playing music while I'm streaming just to have a little thing in the background, but I want that to be super quiet so that I don't run into copyright issues, or just mute it completely. Well, I can now do that right here. I can just simply mute the music. For sound effects, well, Stream Deck can play sound effects. In fact, let me get one set up here. I'm simply going to delete all of Brett's hard work. Sorry, Brett. And I'm going to add a audio soundboard here. So let's see, cinematic whoosh. That's always a good one. And now if I tap a Stream Deck key, it's going to play that. The other thing I need to do is I'm actually going to choose sound effects. I'm going to route that into the sound effects channel. And so now when I play the sound, it should route right into sound effects. There we go. Super simple. All it was one click to set the output to sound effects. Now, if I don't want that sound effect to be super loud, I can simply, for both the monitor mix and the stream mix, basically for both of my mixes, I can just simply maybe reduce that to like 80%. That way I'm like, okay, the sound effects will never be too loud. And it kind of continues on, right? For game, if you launch a game or two, you can add them to the game channel, and then browser, you might have multiple browsers. And this gives you total control over all of that in one app. And those feed into output mixes. And so the first one is going to be the monitor mix. That's the mix that essentially you hear. And then the second is the stream mix. That's the mix that, well, goes out to the stream. You can control these levels as well. These are essentially the master levels here, although I recommend just leaving these at 100% and really only using the input channel volumes. And so the monitor mix goes to your headphones. Goes to, it could be the headphones on your Wave device. So for example, here we are using an XLR dock, or it could go to, if you have headphones that are connected via a different DAC, then you could do that. Or if you want them through your monitor, or just whatever it might be, you can just output it there. And then the stream mix, you actually would output this to something like OBS. So let me open OBS here. Okay, there we go. And to remove some distractions, I'm going to turn off the 4KX. And so here, well, there's two ways to do it. One, you just go into the OBS settings, you go to audio, and then this would be an input, right? This is essentially a micro aux input. You simply select Wavelength stream, and there you go. And now you can see here, this is now the mic. As I'm talking, you can see the levels move because this is going through Wavelink. That's how simple it is. You could also, if you want to do it on a per scene basis, you can just add an audio input capture and then select a Wavelink stream here as well. Now this combines all of your audio. Again, this makes it super simple. You can also control these levels with Stream Deck. So check this out. If you've got, let's say, just one monitor, or you kind of, you've got a lot of stuff up, you've got your dashboard up, and you've got, your alerts and everything, then you might not have enough real estate on your monitor. You can put this all on Stream Deck. So I've got a Stream Deck Plus in the setup, and I'm going to go ahead and control Wavelink with Stream Deck Plus. So to do so, I would install the Wavelink plugin from Elgato Marketplace, which I already have down here. And I'm simply going to drag an input control onto one of the dials. I can choose which input I want to control. In this case, let's do music. And then I can choose which mix it's controlling, right? So it's the same way that, here I have the stream mix control and the monitor mix control. I can choose if I control one or the other or both at the same time. So I'll just do, I'll do monitor mix. And then lastly, you can choose how it actually shows up on the dial, and in fact on the touch display above the dial. There's level meter plus volume slider. There's only level meter or only volume slider. I'm going to leave it on level meter and volume slider. And so now, if I go ahead and I'm going to actually open Spotify and play some music so we can see the volume actually move. Let's say, oh boy. All right, we're in Sean's Discover Weekly. So I'm going to hide it. But here we go. So now you can see music is moving in Wavelink, and it's also moving on the touch display above the dial. And maybe we can actually zoom in on the camera to show this on the device. And so this is pretty cool. So I've got a pretty blank Stream Deck here, but that's how simple it is to configure, right? It's all just drag and drop. Now, if I wanted to control the level of the music, I simply rotate the dial. And I can, change the volume. So if a track is too loud or too quiet, if it's too loud or too quiet, I can simply rotate the dial like so, and then it adjusts the volume, and then you can see, oh, it actually ended on a good number. Nice. You can see it then just stays there, and I can see the level, and then it goes back to the volume meter. And I can do that for any input I want. So if I, drag another input control on there, I can also choose something like the game, and then maybe I want that for both, the stream and the monitor mix. And then I want the same thing. I want the controls, and then maybe increase the step size to make it easier. And now I just simply rotate the dial and adjust the volume. So again, it is incredibly simple to set up and also very powerful. You also have other controls as well. So for example, the outputs, you can change the volume here. And then if you have a Wave device, you can also control all the device settings. So for example, if you want to adjust the gain, the output volume, or the mic and PC mix, these are a lot of the same settings that you have, well, on a Wave XLR on the front or a Wave 3, then you can do that as well. Now, it's not just dials that can look really cool, it's also keys. So if you've got a Stream Deck Mark II, or heck, even Stream Deck Mobile, then you can also have keys display the volume. Check this out. If I take one of the Wavelink actions here, and I see there's some questions coming in. Let me get through this, and then I'll go through some of those. I'll take the input action here, and I'll just drag it onto a key. I'm going to set it to adjust. And again, I can choose my input. So we'll go with music. We'll go with the monitor mix. And then check this out. There's a style. So right now it just says plus because I'm going to increase the volume. But I could also do something like fader and level meter. And then to make this easy, I'm going to copy this key, paste it, and then set this one to -5% volume. And now check that out. Across two keys, I've got a single volume fader as well as level meter indicator. And now I simply tap on the key, and you'll see that's actually changing the volume of the music channel in Wavelink. And so this is a really cool way to get a nice visual display, not only of the volume level, but also just have that control again between two keys if you don't have a Stream Deck Plus. So that's really cool. And you can also do it horizontally as well. I can change this to horizontal, and then, set it up like that. And now I can do it, left and right instead of up, down. So this is really cool. And again, this works across every Stream Deck. So if you want to do this on a Stream Deck Neo, Stream Deck Mark II, which by the way, the Mark II is on sale. or a Stream Deck Plus, which is also on sale, or a Stream Deck XL. You can do all of this across every Stream Deck device. It is not limited. So yeah, that is control of the keys. And that's kind of the main integration. And now the second thing that Wavelink does is audio processing. And in fact, we're using NDI output here as one of our effects. But essentially, what you can do is once you've done all your audio routing, well, you then might want to improve your sound, right? You might want to give yourself a little bit more of a low-end frequency, bump that up with an EQ, or you might want to make sure that your sound effects are never too loud by adding a compressor. You can do that all right within Wavelink, and it's incredibly easy. So let me actually show you first of all, on the mic here, I've got a couple audio effects added. And the way this works is you just click on this little audio effects popover. Each channel, or basically each input, has one. And then you just click on add effect here. Now, if you've got some effects installed, they'll show up. Otherwise, you can click on get more effects, and it actually opens right into Elgato Marketplace. And here you can get a bunch of effects like noise removal, equalizer, made by us. There's also third-party audio effects, and then there's even some cool game-related ones. So yeah, there's voice mod, there's Black Ops 6, which we just had a cool partnership with. There's a Pip-Boy one if you're playing Fallout. So let me go ahead and actually, let's see. I think, did we have the EQ installed yet? I don't think so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to install the EQ, and you'll see just how fast it is. All I do is I hit open in Wavelink, and because I have a Marketplace account, it just immediately begins downloading it. And there we go. The EQ has been installed. Now I simply go back into my mic sound effects tab.